So, finally, we did it. We got it. We've done it. We're here.
Finally, we're here, mate.
So, when did we originally plan it? About
I think it was
long
about
time
3 or
ago
4
now.
months ago.
Yeah, I didn't.
Yeah.
So it's been that long. I've actually got to know you a little bit. That's all it is.
It's
It's been that long. Well, yeah, I decided I don't like you now. So.
Yeah, I've seen something I didn't like.
No, I'm only joking. Nobody comes on this podcast if I don't like them. And I'm usually, I've said this before, but I'm usually a really good judge of character as well. I'm either a really good judge of character or just like jumping to conclusions. But I think I'm a good judge of character like pretty quickly. So anybody who's even been asked, even if they've been asked and said no, I think you're a nice person. And that means you're a nice person because I've got a great judge of character.
Yes.
And even if I'm wrong, I won't admit it.
Yeah, that's... Yeah, no, I'll get you.
So, give everyone an introduction. Just briefly explain who you are and what you currently do, for those who don't know.
Hello, everybody. I'm Ant from priMo Bathrooms. You all know what I get up to. You know how I do things. But yeah, I am the bathroom man. Or the bathroom guru. I think I've got a new nickname floating around now. I'm the bathroom guru. But yeah, you call me what you like. It is what it is.
So your current day job, because believe it or not everybody will know. You're talking to it as if you're talking to TikTok. Not everybody's on TikTok.
Yeah.
So your current day job. I know you've said it multiple times, but I wanted to ask you about it. So you do bathrooms only?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, started, it is now, it's been bathrooms only for the last 6, 7 years.
Okay.
But I'm a tiler by trade, so there's a lot of people that will know me for my tiling, and now there's a new load of people that will know me for bathrooms.
Yeah.
So they go hand in hand, really.
Okay, and you said it before. You only do supply and fit.
That's it. Yeah.
And
when it comes to bathrooms, it is literally a supply and fit service only.
Yeah.
I will not.
We'll get to that.
Get involved into anything else.
We'll get to that and the reasons for it. But what area do you cover?
So I'm based in Essex, which is I'm the closest part to Stansted, but I travel to Hertfordshire, I branch into a little bit of London, not too far deep into London, but and a lot of the home counties surrounding Hertfordshire, really.
And is Essex where you grew up?
No, I grew up in Hertfordshire, in a town called Cheshunt. Yeah. That's where I grew up.
Okay. What was that like?
It was all right. It's changed now. I suppose, like any area that we grow up in, it always changes. But yeah, it was all right, really. It was a nice place to be. And some parts of that area are still nice to be, but it's definitely changed.
So, was that the family, brothers, sisters?
Yeah, brother and a sister. I'm the eldest.
Okay.
I'm the eldest, so yeah.
What was
keep them in line?
What was it like for school? And did you always want to? Did you know at school you wanted to do what you do now?
No. At school, I was really into. I wanted to be a graphic designer. When I left school, I went to college and did a 3-year course on graphic design, and yeah, I mean, I tried to get a job in it once I'd finished all the college courses. It was so hard to find a placement. Companies that I'd speak to only wanted people with experience. So that sort of, I got a bit disheartened with that, and I ended up where I am now.
How long ago was that?
This was, I was in college, so how long ago was that? I think I've been tiling for 17 years.
Bloody hell.
I've been self-employed for 17 years. So yeah, it was a while ago.
So, school-wise, were you completely concentrating on the graphic design at school, or is that something you chose once you?
No, school was all right. Really, I got on with school. School really wasn't a problem for me. I just turned up every day, tried my best. I wasn't very academic, but if I saw someone doing something, I could learn that way a lot quicker.
Yeah.
If you gave it to me in the format of a book, I'd just look at it. That's it. I wouldn't,
Yeah. We've had this conversation multiple times, and it's not changed. So, school when we
I
were
don't
there.
think it will change. In any tradesman you speak to is probably the same.
Yeah.
Hence why we're all in the trade.
Well, school's no good for people like that. School's only good for a small percentage of people that actually go there, to believe it or not.
Yeah.
Once they've taught you how to read and write, which is great, obviously, and it's good to mingle with people your age or whatever, but everything else that they do, even more so these days, I think schools are worse now than when we were there. I think they're getting worse. Because I've mentioned it before on the podcast, like when we were there, and they still do it now. You're all in a room. I think class sizes are bigger now than when we were there, but say 30 in a class, maybe 20 when we were there.
Yeah.
Everybody being taught the same thing in the same way. And it's not the teacher's fault, it's curriculum or whatever they have to do, or the group of the cohort that they're given. There's only a very small percentage of kids in that class who are going to take it in. Like like 10% or less. Who will thrive in that environment. The rest of them are just like the teacher's just babysitting them, basically. Like, you're hanging in there, hoping you don't get in trouble and hoping you get some kind of grade, because you do need some kind of grade, especially in certain subjects. Unless you
you're right. And it's literally English maths.
which is
the main two.
You do need it, and I'm like, people often will say, well, what's the point of maths? It's a load of bollocks. I'm like, you get some grasp of it, obviously, because it might seem like a load of crap, and my kids will say it now, and we probably used to say when we were at school, so why does it matter?
Yeah, it's true.
Why does it matter that y equals x and all that crap? And you're like, the way that you're asking that question, why does it matter what x equals? It fucking doesn't. But the point is, you're sharpening your mind to be able to do those things and understand numbers and mathematics and figuring things out. But yeah, schools, and they're worse now, mate. I'm telling you, because they're all becoming academies. They're even less bothered about the kids learning now. I mean, just this week, right? Just this fucking week. So it's the second week that the kids have been back. You won't know, you've got no kids yet, have you? So it's the second week.
No, I have.
Oh, you have? Sorry.
No, I've got kids. Yeah,
oh, so your missus is not pregnant for the first time? That's another one.
Well, yes, my missus is pregnant for the first time. However, I've got two boys.
Sorry, I didn't know this.
Boys.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Right, okay, so you know then. So school's been back for 2 weeks now.
Yeah.
And so I said last week to the missus, I need to look at some emails, because the school that our kids go to, they're fucking chaotic with instructions and emails, and same as everywhere probably.
Yeah.
So I was like, I just need to look through and make sure I haven't missed anything, because I forget to pay for the dinner or something. So I was looking through the emails and texts, and you get all sorts of shit. And in those emails we had a PDF that the parents were supposed to print off, sign, scan back in, and send on an email. So I was like, all right, Word documents that you needed to print off, sign, and send back in physically. An app that they've got that you have to log into and do something. I'm like, fucking hell, they've got an app. Why can't they're almost getting there, like, do everything on that app? It's like, why some people can't print a PDF, sign it, scan it back in, send it off, and all that crap. And then this week, just second week back, and it's the second time they're having a non-uniform day in 2 weeks, which is fine.
Really?
Yeah, they had one last week for Morocco, which is like, not bothered, it's a good cause, but they don't just say non-uniform day, they'll say wear red and black because it's from Morocco. And it's fine because obviously you don't have to, but loads of parents will feel pressured. Oh no, I need to make sure he's wearing red and black. And then next week it's fucking something to do with, actually, what we were talking about, something to do with maths, timetable, rock stars. So they've got to dress up as a rock star. And it's like, what even is a rock star these days? Because kids don't fucking know what a rock star is. I know what they're referring to. They're referring to a classical 70s, 80s type rock star, because that's all the imagery they use for the.
Well, that's what we would know.
But that's what the school is saying. So now we've got to say to the kids, oh, you've got to. And this is again, it's pressure on parents to go and get that stuff, because you've got fucking rock star stuff knocking around. No one. Kids don't dress up as rock stars.
Yeah, I've just got it knocking around in the cupboard.
A rock star now is like jeans and a t-shirt. They might wear like something a bit fancy, but yeah. So my point is, yeah, schools are getting worse, and the whole point in all of that is because they're in academy. Ultimately, and they'll dress it up as rock stars and fucking whatever. It's about money. It's because every time they do something, you have to pay and take some money and do this and do that. And the academy is more interested in profit than actually teaching the kids.
I mean, I've always said, the sooner the better that people realise the world is just one big business.
Yeah.
The easier people will understand why things happen. As soon as you realise that the world is just one massive business, it's easier to, because people have all this, oh, why is that? Why is it like this? And why have we got to do this? And why have we got to do? The world is a business. Like it or don't like it, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Like money goes round, and these things.
You're right.
Real part.
And it is. Literally, like down to school now. School's become a fucking business, which is ridiculous.
Yeah, wherever there's a money transaction, it's classed as business. That's it.
But it doesn't need to be, does it?
No.
It's just.
It was an educational place.
Not just school though. There's loads of things.
You know, there's things that, like, you know, all these strikes that happen. They're moaning, they're striking because they're not happy with their pay. I'm too blunt, right? The way I would say it is, well, if you're not happy with what you're doing and what you're earning, go and better yourself. Could you see what I mean? It's just straight talking.
Yeah, but so my missus is a teacher, right? So I
didn't mean that.
No. But I'll always side with same as the rail workers, because it's not quite as simple as that. I get where you're coming from, and just strike. And sometimes I disagree with him. You're right, but it's not as easy as that. It's not simple. And I've said this before as well. When people, I think it was when Ross was on, because I think he'd make a good teacher. You can't just be a teacher. People do go and just be a teacher, but you can't just be a teacher. You can't, no. Unless you love teaching, you shouldn't be a teacher. So let's assume that all of the teachers that have got these issues with the conditions, and it's not just money, it's conditions and the way they're being treated and things like that. They love teaching. That's their thing. So what they're saying is, listen, we love our job and you're making it hard for us. We're teachers who love teaching and we love the kids, but now we're in academy. You're changing all the conditions. It's more about money than anything. You want to pay us less. You want to affect our pensions more. So that's what they're saying. But ultimately, it always turns into it's a strike and they want more money. It's not just about that.
Yeah.
Same as the rail workers. That's obviously the headline, and that's obviously what everybody wants is more money. But it's definitely deeper than that. And I think the high percentage of people that are doing it, they do love the job, and it would be very difficult for them to do something else. But
yeah, I mean, I've always said, whatever work you're in, you've got to really enjoy it. You've got to enjoy your work. Otherwise, it can be painful sometimes.
Yeah.
But you've got to enjoy what you do.
When I was at uni, I've repeated this millions of times, but I started uni quite late. So I did my apprenticeship, and then I did a university degree on the job. and then I quit that and started university again when I was like 24. But when I was there, I used to do anything for money while I was a student, and eventually got a job in a cinema. But before that, I would do anything if there was money going. So I did all sorts of stuff for the university, and one of the things was teacher training. And the only reason I did it is because I think you got maybe 40 quid a day or 60 quid a day or something like that anyway. So you travel to a school and you do the teacher training and you get paid for doing it. But I don't want to be a teacher. I was never going to be a fucking teacher. I did it because you got paid for doing it. And I was working with other young, they were a little bit older than me, but they were new teachers and some of them didn't want to do it, but they were getting decent money. And I was having conversations with them. They were like, "We know we shouldn't be doing it," I bet you some of them are still teachers, and that was like donkeys ago now. So they shouldn't be doing it. And there's still a percentage of teachers now, and they're the ones they'll be the ones who are considered bad teachers, and the kids will be like, "Oh, I don't like that teacher." Well, it's because they don't love the job. They don't even like kids. Some teachers don't even like kids. It's fucking crazy. But they get decent enough money.
So it's the money they're getting.
Yeah. And there's nothing else they can do now because they've been doing it for too long. No. They make it cushy for themselves. So like my missus is a good example. She cares a lot, so she brings a lot of work home. She spends money on stuff for the class because the fucking academy won't. So she can have a nice classroom. But there's a lot of teachers who don't really care. So maybe they've got it right because they're making it cushy for themselves. They don't really care about buying stuff for the class. They'll just do as they're told and go home at whatever time and have the 6 weeks off and only do the basics. But they're a bad teacher. They're not actually teaching the kids anything. And they're probably the ones who will agree with you and say, yeah, we got paid decent money, why are we going on strike? But it's because they don't care. The ones that really care, they're the ones who are saying, listen, it's the conditions, it's not just the money. It's everything, and it's affecting the kids. And it's true.
Yeah, well,
schools are worse than they ever were, mate.
No. And they're the ones that suffer, the kids.
Yeah.
And they're the generation next. So
what's school like in Essex? What's Essex like in general? for somebody from Stoke?
Essex has got a lot of hype around it anyway.
Yeah.
But there's Essex is actually very big. There's a lot of areas that come under Essex. But it's all right. There's some real nice places, there's some okay places, and there's some rough places, just like everywhere, really.
What was the places like for you, though, growing up? Nice, rough?
Growing up, yeah. I was in Cheshunt, Hertfordshire, so it was a good place to grow up. It was a good place to live. It was quiet where we was. We didn't really have any trouble. When I was a kid, I could play out in the street and play football, and didn't have to worry about anything like knife crime going on. Do you see what I mean? It wasn't.
Yeah. So what I'm getting at, so I could do that, but where I grew up was as rough as you could possibly imagine. But I didn't have we could disappear all day, and parents didn't really. They weren't worried where we were or anything like that. So we had that. But for you, what? It's a difficult question to ask, really. So I grew up on a council estate. I'm trying to get if you grew up like nice and posh or not.
No, I wouldn't say posh. My mum and dad never really gave us kids what we wanted. It wasn't like that. We got things, but they were worked. They had to work hard to achieve those sort of things, you know. So no, it wasn't. Never really had that upbringing where we were spoiled. Not at all. Parents always taught us, you want something, go and work for it.
Yeah.
And we've all probably got friends that grew up differently to us, but I wouldn't change how I was brought up.
Yeah.
Because it's made me who I am today. You know, you hear stories and you hear other people's, if they've been given things, sort of spoon-fed, or inherited certain businesses that parents have got to a certain level.
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean? And it's
Yeah. It's difficult, isn't it? Because I know people from all aspects of it. So I know people who've had that.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean nothing's right or wrong.
No, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just the hand. Listen, it's the hand you dealt with.
Yeah.
The hand you dealt with, and you got to play with what you've been dealt with. So
yeah, but you're right. You can get the ones that if it does come a bit too easy,
yeah,
they can end up being like not a very nice person.
It was you know, we was taught to work hard for what you want. It was work hard. That was all we ever heard. Just make sure you work hard.
Yeah. His family always originally from Essex?
No. So I moved from Hertfordshire about 3 years ago now. Bought my first place.
Sorry, I meant your family originally from Hertfordshire. I keep saying Essex instead of Hertfordshire. Is that where
no?
Historically,
my dad was born in Sicily, and he moved here when he was 8 years old. My mum was born here, but her parents are from Italy, so we got a lot of Italian in us. But yeah, we've always lived. The family has always lived in Hertfordshire. Yeah.
Yeah. So what brought him to the UK?
It was my granddad. He was looking for a better life. But he had 4 kids, and the life that they knew was, if I was to explain what their life was like from the stories I've heard, people would be like, "What? Really?" And it's, you know, they had nothing. They literally had nothing. They had mules. That was how they earned their money. Working the land, women. It was, to us, that's like, what? That's unheard of, you know. But that's what their life was every day, and they worked the land, so they knew how to make money from growing produce and stuff. So there was a lot of Italians that came to England, and they all worked in the nurseries. And the nurseries were a popular, factories and nurseries were the places that they all worked. And some did a lot better than others, and ended up owning and then selling the nurseries off and becoming multimillionaires from selling the land to developers. And some just plodded on through, but made a massive difference to their life. My grandparents owned their own home. They had another home in Sicily. All they knew was just work. That's all they knew, was just literally work.
What we're talking, 1920s or something like. What years are we talking?
Well, my granddad would have been 94. So go back, so when was that? 19, back round about then, 1920, something like that.
First World War. After the First World War, maybe.
After, because my great granddad fought in that, and I think my uncle's got the medals in a nice display cabinet. Mm-hmm. But I go back to where my dad's from, and I love it there. Like seeing where he was as a kid and the things that he did, and now I can take my kids there. My kids have grown up going there every single year.
Yeah.
It's like a second home for them. My wife, I've taken my wife there, and she can relate to it because it's similar to where her family's from. But just seeing what they had and how they lived, it's like we should not moan about anything when you see it, and you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a big sacrifice for them. My granddad was the first one to come here with his brother, and one story that my dad told me was one of the first times they came to England, they had nowhere to stay. They slept on a bench. Because they had nowhere to stay until they earned enough money to buy their own house.
Yeah.
You know, it was that hard.
How did they end up coming to the UK in the first place? Like, is it just because they know other people from where they're from are also here doing something that they can do, and they've probably just sent them a letter saying there's work here?
Think. Yeah, what it was is because the work, the diet that it was there was no trades like we've got here. It was just a way of life. But they found, obviously, someone had done the trip and found what it was like.
Yeah.
It was like that they need work, they need guys, they need you know, the factories. Because factories was big back then. My dad used to tell me how big there was a lot of factory in England. We had a lot of factories.
Yeah.
And we haven't got hardly any now.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of those workers there. And then it was the nurseries. The nurseries is the popular one where all the Italians worked in the nurseries, big pack houses, and but yeah, they all came here, and say all. The majority, there was a few that came, and some went back, some stayed.
Yeah, I don't know much about Italians. The why Italians moved. You know, like it was around about.
Yeah.
I used to live in Ireland, so I know a little bit about why Ireland ended up representing the world. But Italy did something similar, really, because everywhere you go, there's an Irish pub, but everywhere you go, there's Italians as well. Everywhere.
Yes.
Or some representation of like Italian restaurants or Italian culture or something.
Yeah.
So they did the same thing, but I'm not quite sure why. I know that the Irish one was the famine, but I don't know the Italian one. I'm just ignorant to it, I suppose.
There was a story that my dad told me. My granddad, his sister, and his brother. His sister moved. They had a choice. It was either go to America or come to England. And there was a few that went to America, and then there was the majority came to England from the people that he grew up with. And my granddad came over with his brother, and my granddad's sister moved to France. And there was a lot of Italians that moved to France as well. And it was genuinely for a better life and to create, you know, give their families a better life. But yeah, they did well. They did well, you know.
And are they still around? I think he said they weren't.
No, my grandparents passed away. On my mum's side, we've still got my granddad, and he, you know, it's a similar story with him as well. Same thing. He came to England. He was a gardener. They've just literally worked their whole life.
Yeah.
Literally, just worked their whole life.
Yeah.
If you was to have a conversation and ask them what did you do, and they'd say nothing. We just worked.
Yeah.
They just worked. But that was what they were used to.
Yeah.
It's not like us. We're on the weekend. We'll go here. We'll go there. We'll try that restaurant. We'll try this place. Their lives weren't like that.
Yeah.
They literally worked, grew their own and worked.
Yeah. I do this. I might have said it before, but I'm not sure if I have on the podcast. But I've got this thing with me and the missus, right? So neither of us have been left anything, and neither of us are ever very well off. So I've got this thing with the missus where I'm like, listen, this house that we've got now, it's not really ours. So we're basically renting it off the kids. So, and it's like a much, much lower, less of a risk thing than what your grandparents did. So they've basically sacrificed their adult life, basically for you now. It was for your dad originally, but because of they did what they did, you're able to do what you do now, with some kind of security and decent life that your parents probably started. But before them, it wasn't decent. It wasn't easy.
No.
It's not easy now. It never is. But you know what I mean.
Yeah. No. Of course. Yeah. Yeah. You sacrifice for the generation. It's like us. You know, like you said. Once you've paid we get to the end of paying your mortgage. We're never going to see that money. No. That money goes. That money's for our kids.
Yeah.
But knowing that you've secured them with something.
Yeah.
You know, and they don't even know what it's about yet.
Yeah.
But they've got something when you know the day comes.
Yeah. You're starting something. You're actually stopping something, but you're starting something within your family. But you're actually stopping. You're stopping a bit of a rot. Because, like, you may have it, I don't know, but for me and the missus, like, we're not going to be left anything. If my old man leaves me anything, it'll be debt. Do you know what I mean? So it's like we're starting something for our kids, but we're actually stopping something in our family line where there's no real, and it's not a problem. It's fine for us. Like, we're not fussed, but it'd be good for our kids.
Yeah, well, this is it. I think everything we do is for the kids' future. So yeah, we have no choice but to just keep moving.
Yeah, I would love to speak to your granddad. Obviously, I can't. I love speaking to people who were around like 100 years ago or 90 years ago. Just amazing to listen to.
Well, we was over there. Me and the wife was over there in June, and we went to my dad's birth town. He's still got cousins there. My nan's still got her house there. So
is this Sicily?
Yeah, in Sicily. Yeah. So
and he was born.
I was Sorry.
When was he born? In the 50s.
Yeah, 56.
So is that like? This is an obvious question to ask, but that's like the height of fucking. And that area, innit? It's the area and the height of.
Yeah.
You know what I'm going to say, don't you?
Yeah. You know, there's loads of stories and things, but there's a place in the countryside, where they worked, and they've got the family. My dad's cousins have got this rustic setup. But it just the views that they've got from where it's all situated, the land, you're looking out and you're just seeing picturesque stuff.
Yeah.
But they go there in the summer, and when all the family's together, they just do rustic barbecues. But I'm talking like proper barbecues, big stuff, and it's just nice. All the families together, the kids. But it's nice that they still bring their old ways and what their parents showed them, and they still continue to live that same way.
Yeah.
Even in today's modern world, and that's nice, and I love that. Like, we didn't go this year, we didn't get a chance to go there, but next year it's on my hit list. I'm going.
Yeah.
We'll stay there for a while.
I've only ever really been for work. So obviously tile. You go to the tile show, and you don't really see Italy. You just see the tile show and fucking McDonald's and restaurant in the evening.
Yeah,
maybe.
That's it.
But with my other job, I went. Where did I go? I got the train. I think we fly into Milan. So then we went to see a supplier there. The trains are amazing, by the way, in Italy. The ones I got were anyway. They were like,
I've never done a train in Italy.
they're really good. So you're sitting on the train. So we were going from Milan to Bologna, I think, or whatever. And while you're on the train, and this is years ago now, so while you're on the train, there's a screen that'll say you're going to be in Bologna station in 30 minutes. And when you get there, if you want to go to, I don't know, what else is up there? I don't even know. If you want to go to Modena, you need to go to platform 2, and it'll be this number train. So it's telling you if you're connecting before you, so you're not going to miss your train when you get there. Within this country, you'd be oh fuck, where's the next platform and where am I going? But
you ask someone here and they don't care, do they?
Well, it could be that platform, but it might not be anymore because it might have been late and whatever. It certainly didn't tell you on a screen before you arrived. In Europe,
Europe is just so different, and I think we notice these things more because we haven't actually got it here.
Yeah.
And you would think, why haven't we got something simple like that?
Yeah. I'm sure they've got some things that are rubbish in comparison to our things that are good, but in my experience, I always notice the trains.
They don't have
taxis.
Rubbish weather. They have really good weather. They have really good food.
Yeah. Their buildings are. It's like everywhere you go. It really is like this is what it's like in the movies, but it really is like everywhere you go is like 500 years old. It's like fucking hell.
Yeah, it's a lot of history. Yeah. But they survive off that history.
Yeah, we do a little bit, don't we? And in the UK, it's all we've got left really. Same as them, I suppose. So Italy, and because all the production of everything is moving, you hold on to your history, don't you? And it still holds some weight with other countries, even like China love the UK history and Italian fashion and everything related to it. So you should hold on to it. That's your culture in it. That's the way. It's the way you can still make money. When we went, I think it was Bologna. You might be able to tell me because there was earthquakes just before we went, and because of the earthquake, we went to a restaurant. Some factory took us to a restaurant, but because of the earthquake, the restaurant itself had fucking collapsed.
Oh.
So all the people that worked there still worked there. They were still running as a restaurant, but they'd moved into a museum. So there was this fish. It was like a fish restaurant, but it was in a museum. It was like fucking. It's amazing. It's like all marble everywhere, all like pieces of art around you, and like. But they wouldn't have been there if the original place hadn't collapsed. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it was really good. Right, so school-wise, we went off one from school. So from wanting to be a graphic designer, at school to actually going and doing it at college. What was the actual college degree?
Well, it was a diploma. So, as what it was classed as, it was like a diploma.
Yeah.
But now I've become older, I understand. When I was speaking to these businesses about myself and if they had a position for me, I understand when they said, look, we're only really looking for people who have experience. Well, I get that now. When you've got a business, you haven't really got time to teach and bring people up to speed. You kind of need them to know what they're doing already.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was just a very hard thing to get into, and a few of my mates that I'm still in contact now was doing the same course. That's how we became friends and sort of stayed friends since college. But they had the same experiences as well. It was just hard to find a placement.
Yeah. The same as anything like that, though, isn't it? With everybody seemed to do media studies at that age, and I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
Where are you going to work?
That was a popular choice. Yeah, that at the time, that was a very popular choice, and there was another one that was the sports stuff, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
It was the medicine side of things. And,
Yeah. It's difficult with sports, isn't it? Because what you can do, you can be a personal trainer
well, yeah,
or a teacher,
yeah,
or it's really difficult to get a job out of it. But people just loved sport, especially at a young age when you're 15 and the fucking, what do they call them? The work coach would come in. What did they used to call those people that came in and told you what job you'd be suited for? I forgot what they called them, and you did like a certificate of achievement. a folder of fucking, I forgot what they were called as well.
a folder of coursework.
Yeah, and then they would come in and say, you like sports, you should go and do this at this university and this college, and you'd be like, really?
Yeah,
but yeah,
it was a hard thing to break into. I mean, as I already said, I wasn't really academic. I wasn't academic at all. So, but I enjoyed being creative. I liked making things, So I always knew that's what I enjoyed. So I kind of wanted to do something like that.
Yeah,
but
there was an artist in
the
there.
practical side for me was the one. But yeah.
So how did you go from that to? What was the first thing you did?
So then it was just I had like a handful of sort of part-time work. Worked in probably the most popular pub in the town, which was quite good. I worked in the local Wickses, worked in the local 7-Eleven chip shops. Literally every job from being like just coming out of school through college. I've literally worked everywhere. Always worked. But the reason I sort of became a tiler was I was expecting my eldest son, and I was 19 at the time.
Oh.
And my dad sort of said to me, "And you need a job. You need to sort it out now. Like your world's going to change." And I was like, oh, "What am I going to do? What am I going to do?" And if anyone's ever been in that position where you're hot, you're burning up, and you're like sweating because you're just panicking. You don't know what's coming, and you know you're in for it, sort of thing. And I just looked at the floor, and I said, "I'm going to be a tiler." He went, "Oh," I said, "Yeah, I'm going to be a tiler." And he went,
"Was the floor tiled?"
He said, "Fine." Yeah.
Is that the first thing you saw?
Yeah. The thing is, I grew up in the building game because my dad's a builder. He's retired now, but so I've grown up in that in the building game, and I loved going to work with him, and I've always done bits and pieces. So he was like, "All right, I'll support you. Find a course. You need to go and get all your tickets because you know that's what you need to do." So I got online. I found the nearest tiling course that was available to me, and it was like a 2-week course. So it was quite an intense course for 2 weeks. And that was it. That was where it all started. And the teacher that was there noticed that I had attention to detail because he gave us a load of tiles. Now, if anyone's done these courses, you'll know what tiles they're like from 1980, 1970, even some in the 60s. Literally, tile factories just donating the college's tiles.
Yeah.
I had pineapples on them. I think that was just all fruit.
Yeah.
But he gave me an equal amount of tiles to create a 800 by 800 frame. And I literally, the pattern, I made it follow. So I had a pineapple, I can't remember, I think it was an orange, and so on. So that literally, as they all went round, they all just flowed. And he came round, he went, "You made a nice job of that." And he sort of just came over to me more because he told me afterwards, he said, I've seen your attention to detail working with stuff. But he always used to come over to me a bit more and sort of just say, right, don't do it like that. Do it like this. Don't do that bit. Do it that way. You know, he just, where the others, I just clocked that he just warmed to me a bit and was just helping me a bit more than others, which I don't know. I don't know why, but it is what it is. But
well,
yeah, then it sort of gave me a bit of confidence.
Yeah, 2-week course, remember? So you're on a 2-week course.
Yeah.
He probably sees people come and go who just want to, I'm going to be a tiler now. Fuck it. And they're not really, are they? But he probably saw and you actually were probably going to be a tiler, so he probably just spent a little bit more time with you. That's sound, I suppose.
But yeah, that's where it started. It was from there, realizing I was going to become a dad. I was a child myself.
Yeah.
But yeah, that, you know, it is. That was like I said earlier. That's the cards I got dealt. So
yeah.
But yeah, I wouldn't change anything really, because it's made me the person I am today.
Yeah. We all have different paths, mate. Nobody. I always say
that's
this.
It.
Very few people from the age of 15. What are we? We're fucking 14 now, mate. We're in the 40s. Nobody from the age of 15 to our age has a plan and carries it out. Doesn't happen. The few that do, the very fucking few, will be perhaps teachers or doctors, or do you know what I mean? Very, very small percentage of very academic people who do well academically at school, who definitely know what they're going to do at college and definitely know what they're going to do at university. It's a small percentage, extremely small. Everybody else, they'll do something random at college, even if they go, I didn't go. Or they'll get some random job and they'll fall into this and fall into that. And it's the person that they are that they end up doing. They're going to succeed in doing something, or they're never going to succeed in doing something. And it doesn't matter what the particular thing is, it depends what that they're like as a person to be able to do it. So yeah, you could have been anything, mate, but you've ended up being a tiler.
Could have been anything. Yeah.
So what did you do after 2 weeks training?
So after the 2 weeks, I was still labouring. I was doing the odd day for my dad. I had a couple of friends that I'd met through my dad. One of them took me on. I think I was there with him for about 2 weeks, done a bit. But during this time of bouncing between one thing and another, I was also touting for my own work. Now, I didn't want to go and work on site. I didn't want to get involved in on site. So I literally had wherever I could put a free advert, I put a free advert. Tiling service. I had a few family members that asked for a few tiling jobs, and you know, I did. There was a job I did for my dad. So I cut my teeth that way. But where I got a lot of experience is when I was literally on my own, starting out literally on my own, going out pricing work, meeting customers.
So the only real training you really got was 2 weeks course.
Yeah.
So you had the
rest is all self-taught.
You weren't an apprentice anywhere?
No.
Wow.
No.
So there you go. It's possible, I suppose.
Anything's possible.
Yeah.
I mean, I was watching a lot on YouTube, and every time I've done an interview or a podcast, I've always mentioned it. The guy that I used to watch the most was an American guy, Italian-American guy, Sal de Blasi. Now, any tiler,
good name,
will know who I'm talking about. He is a veteran. He has done it all. And he has got thousands and thousands and thousands of videos on YouTube. And I used to, every night, I literally used to fall asleep with earphones in to one of his videos, where I was so green. I wanted to learn. I just absorbed absolutely everything I saw. And I saw his methods, and then I sort of tried it my way and created my own methods. But I only learned through practice. So when I said to you, the way I can learn is through watching someone. Literally, you give me a video on YouTube, boom, I know how to do it straight away. And that was what I did most nights for years and years and years. Just literally watched, and just watched, and then practice when I got the opportunity to practice.
Yeah, you do meet tradesmen who are like, a lot of them don't. I've said this multiple times as well, but for anybody who's not listened to an episode before, a lot of tradesmen don't give themselves enough credit. Because they've got so much knowledge, and a lot of them are quite geeky, like what you were, and watching the video.
Yeah.
They know more than they think they know. So, and I've said this before, and I'm one of these people, right? So I'm not slagging them off. So when they look to reps for instructions or advice, and I'm sure the rep knows all about their product, but that same rep, and I'm one of them, so I'm not slagging them off, could go and work at fucking SCS in 2 weeks' time. Do you know what I mean? Like they'll flip from job to job. But the tradesmen who are looking to them for advice, they're the geeks. They're the ones who know. So I often say to tradesmen, I'll always ask a group of tradesmen before a rep, because between them they've got fucking probably thousands of years experience. But like yourself, they've done it every possible way. They've watched all the masters at work, and they know a lot more than they think they know. And it's like, sometimes you do get it sometimes where they'll say, I know more than, it's probably because they do know more. But then I'm like, all right, if you know more, you're not allowed to flip it on the rep when something goes wrong and say, oh, you're supposed to know more than me. Like, you're not allowed to flip it now, because you actually do know more. But I love it when tradesmen are like that, like geeky about what they do. Like, and a lot of them don't realise that they are.
Yeah. You've got to know. You've got to know the ins and outs of your job. You've got to know everything about it. You have to. And to be honest, with the regulations that are changing so much, what you can do, what you can't do, or you're gaining knowledge without even realising anyway.
Yeah, what you're supposed to do and what you're not supposed to do, and new products and fucking new regulations.
Yeah.
So training wise, you literally had no training other than your own research. But you are trained. You trained yourself. So just because you've got no certificates. What?
No, I've got no certificates. There is no certificates.
I don't think you need them. I don't think you need them.
No.
It's the same as anything, you know.
I mean, if I was to probably go and sit these tests and courses now, I'd probably fail anyway.
Yeah. Well, it's good to have knowledge, right? So it's good to know British standards, blah, all this, all. But these days, you're pretty clued up on most things to do with bathrooms. Safe to say. But these days, if you're not, it would only take you about 30 seconds to find out. You just go on TikTok and do a video and say, does anybody know the fucking this, that, or the other? You'll get the right answer, but you'll also get loads of arguments out of it. But the right answer will be there somewhere. So you'll get it.
I love TikTok. Yeah.
You'll get it.
I love TikTok.
It's brilliant. I love it.
There's so many professionals on there, and there's so many experts. The TikTok experts, they're the best ones. You know. So.
Yeah. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about social media. So I've seen. You're obviously very active on TikTok. Is it just TikTok that you do?
I'm on TikTok. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, but TikTok has been the one that's really had the most response.
Yeah, I think TikTok is the most overall. It's the most interactive.
Yeah, it's the most interactive. But I think that's for everybody at the minute.
Yeah.
I noticed a long time ago Instagram is just sort of. It's very, very dull on Instagram. Yeah. And unless you're a legitimate blue tick person, people are not interested.
Yeah. I don't like
in anything.
Instagram's one of my worst ones.
I'm not a fan of Instagram. I'll be honest. I'm not. I don't like it.
I
My
think,
missus just says to me, keep it posting your finished work.
yeah, it's
But
it's a bit like Pinterest to me. Instagram is.
yeah,
It's
Instagram's
like
changed.
here's lots of nice images of stuff. I don't know. Maybe I don't use it properly, but where
No, I agree.
TikTok is
I agree.
more real. I've said that before on the podcast.
I
You
think
get more interaction and people being
I think
honest.
it's because it's newer. It's newer. Instagram's been around for so long now. It's like Facebook. Facebook, that was when that was first out. Everyone was on Facebook, and then Instagram came out, and now it's the turn of TikTok. But
Yeah,
yeah, for me, in terms of exposure, TikTok has been the strongest social media platform at the moment
yeah,
for exposure.
yeah. So we started talking about it because you mentioned and the thing is, I didn't mind them, right? So I know what you're getting at when. So there might be. I'm not even going to mention the one that keeps coming up with you because it's not fair because we need to get the other people on to talk about it. But there might be a subject that's like you do it one way, I do it a different way, and then there's a debate. Fine, because
Yeah.
you're probably both going to learn loads from it. But what you're getting at is some people just won't learn and they'll keep banging on and saying, you must be wrong because that's not how I do it. And I wish I could join in sometimes to say, listen, you do it that way, you do it that way. Some people can't comprehend. So I
No.
did an experiment the other day, I'll tell you about it in a minute. So some people can't comprehend. I wouldn't do that. So it must be fucking wrong. And you're like, well, no,
Yeah.
not really. You need to take yourself out of your own fucking head and think, why is he doing it like that? Is that better or is it different? Is there a reason for it? Is it better for certain scenarios? But there was one thing I did consider. I'm not brilliant on social media, and I keep running. I don't have any kind of method for anything. I'll post random things, and sometimes they get views, and sometimes they don't. I don't have a way of doing anything. You know, like yourself, you've got your
Yeah.
thing. Um,
Yeah.
Sam, Professor Plum, he's a good example. He's got into his swing of things, and he's found like a niche for doing something. I haven't really got that. I just do random shit. But the other day I did. So I never get loads of views. If I get 10,000 views, that's loads for me. And what I really want is on TikTok now, and I'll be honest about it, I want 10,000 followers. Because now if you've got
Yeah.
10,000 followers, you get a quid for every time you get 1,000 views. So that's what I'm after. I think I've got 2,000. Not really fussed about getting followers, but I like the fact that you get paid for fucking views. So the
Yeah.
experiment I did was, I keep seeing these adverts, you know, the TikTok shop. It annoys
Yeah.
people. It annoys me, to be honest. I just flick past if it's something annoying. But you do get good channels that do. I think I've mentioned it before. There's a guy that does yo-yos, and my eldest likes yo-yos, and he'll watch him now and again. And he's selling yo-yos, but he's doing it in a good way. But anyway, I keep seeing these clippers, like hair clippers, shavers, and
The
I've
gold
actually,
ones.
yeah, and I've got them. I've had them for about 5 years, and I'm like, fucking hell, I've got them. I think I probably paid 25 or 30 quid for them about 5 years ago. Like, I think the barber had them, and I nowhere sold them, and I found them somewhere and paid over the odds for them. But they're good, and I've had them for ages. But I keep seeing the advert for them, and it's always like they're obviously made in China, so it's always a Chinese advert, and they're not really showing you anything. They just show you the razor and then say it's dead cheap. And I think that kind of undersells it because all they're basically saying is it's cheap. So people are like, well, it must be shit as well. But I know they're not because I've had some for ages. So I did the
Yeah.
experiment I did was I said to my missus, I'll just going to record because I have a shave anyway. I never have clean shaves. I always use those clippers. So I did a 2.5 minute video, and it wasn't out of my way because I was having a shave anyway, of just me shaving, and then it probably took me 5 minutes to put some text on it and upload it, and that was, I think I uploaded it on Sunday, and it's currently on like 40 odd thousand views for me, which is like, that's wild for me. That's fucking way more
See, that's the
than I ever
TikTok
got.
gods.
Yeah.
The TikTok
It's the
gods have
algorithm.
heard you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You're playing with the
they heard you.
algorithm. But what it's done is, it's not, so the algorithm likes it because you're selling something, right? Obviously TikTok gets a cut, and if anyone's listening, if you want an easy way, if you copy off that if you want, but if you've got like an idea and something is on the TikTok shop, I had another one for a doorbell if anyone wants to do it, because I've got a doorbell that's on the TikTok shop as well. Just record yourself using your doorbell. You don't even have to show your face. Press the bell. Do a screen record of what the app looks like, because it's good and it's better than the Ring one. Post it on TikTok, and I guarantee you'll make some money from it. So if anyone's listening, it was an experiment for me, really, but it got loads of views. If you're into views, it's getting me some followers, which I want to get because I want 10,000 followers, so I get £1 for 1,000 views. But if you're interested in doing it, I uploaded it on Sunday, and it literally took me 5 minutes because I have a shave anyway. I'm not counting that as time. And since Sunday, I think it's had like £90 in commission from those razors.
Wow.
So can you imagine people who do videos like that, but 30 a week? They're making decent fucking money. As long as, I could imagine if you keep seeing my face, it'll get really annoying and I won't do anymore. But it just so happened I thought, I've got that razor, I'll try it. And I think, so the algorithm likes it. You have to play the algorithm, unfortunately. That's just the way it fucking is. The algorithm likes it because it's selling something. But also, you can see my face, so it attracts the trolls as well, which I don't mind. And I was saying to my missus, imagine if I was 19, and like if you look at the comments, that would probably bother you if you're in. So like, especially young girls now, that's why they're all fucking having problems with social media, because you've got like blokes like grown men commenting like taking the piss or having a go or saying that looks shit, you look shit, your fucking hair's shit, and you're like, I'm 40 odd, mate. I don't really care about these things. I'll just wind them up back. But you can imagine if you were young and you've put your face out there, that's really, really going to bother them. But yeah, if anyone's listening, if you want to try and make, I don't know, what's it on, 90 quid in 2 days, I'll give that money to charity. But if you want to make 90 quid in 2 days, there's an example for you. And I didn't even fucking do anything. I don't even know what I'm doing.
It's definitely something that's massive at the moment, earning money on social media. I mean, I don't earn a lot of money on social media. I earn money from being on social media.
Yeah. It's your shop window, innit?
What I've noticed as well, I used to spend, when I first started really going in depth with the editing of the videos, sometimes I used to sit there for like an hour editing the video. I'd watch it back and watch it back and watch it back and watch it back to make sure that every single sequence and scene was edited perfectly, so that it was just very continuous and it wasn't boring.
Yeah.
So anyway, once I'd finished editing the video, I'd post it, and then I'd look at it an hour, half hour, and I'd see the views, and I'd think, that's rubbish, man. Like, I've just spent an hour editing that video, and it's literally on 1,000 views. And I've got videos that I haven't even spent any time on that are on 1.1 million or 1.5. I think one's on 2 million. I haven't even spent no time editing them.
Yeah.
But what I've got to notice, every time I do a real edited video like that, it's controlled of how many views it gets.
Yeah.
Because TikTok is very clever. The algorithm knows that if they push that video, they know what app you've edited that video on when you've uploaded it.
Yeah.
So if they push that, and it was, say, for instance, it was edited on VN, you've edited on that app, they know they won't push it. Likewise, when you take your video from TikTok and try and put it on Instagram, Instagram just put it to one
kills
side.
It. Yeah.
So I learned how to edit on TikTok. So my videos now are all edited on TikTok. Same outcome. Views are terrible. But the edits are good. So when I'm out and I see people, they go, I love your work, I love your content, I love the way you edit this, that, and the other. And I'm like, oh, TikTok's showing me a different reading because I'm only getting 4,000 views. So how is all these people seeing it and liking it, but it's still not getting pushed? And the reason is, if they push them and then let them videos go, they'll be paying loads out. So they control how much they actually spend and give to creators. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's a business for them. They want to earn as much, but don't want to give out. They'll give a bit, but they ain't going to give a lot.
Yeah. They start I've never
They'll give
experienced
you.
it. I haven't got that. I haven't got as many followers as you, or I don't get as many views. But I would imagine your video of 2.2
It's very
million.
controlled.
How much is 2.2 million worth if you got £1 per 1,000?
It's a lot. But see, this is the thing. It's a very select amount. The big profiles will get
£2,000.
that.
You would have got £2,000. It just took me fucking ages to work that out. You would have got £2,000 for that video, just for the views and with the new rules.
Yeah, well, these new rules. So I think it's 1:10. The video's got to be to qualify for you to be able to earn from it. But they are paying more. I think before it changed, I weren't even aware of it, and someone on TikTok who I've become friends with sort of said to me, check this folder and click on that. So I did. And he said, tell me how much money's in there. And there was like 180 quid in there. I didn't even know. He went, yeah, that's what you've earned from all your videos. I went, is that it? 180 quid? But that was over, when I think of it, that was over a 2-year period. So it's not a lot of money.
They didn't used to pay
but
much.
Now they're paying like 180 quid per video.
Yeah.
Based on the views.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is a new thing, but listen, I've always said I don't give a shit about the views.
Yeah.
I'm just putting the content out there. Whatever, if it does well, it does well. If it don't, it don't. My goal is to gain more clients for me, for my business, but also put back out there and teach in a way, showing others this is how I do it. Whether it's right or wrong, whatever you choose to believe, if you want to give it a go, give it a go. That's how I do it. So I'm giving back in that sense, but I'm also touting for work.
Yeah,
just like we all are. And you need to be on social media to get your phone ringing.
Yeah, TikTok's the best place. Even if you're just not interested in making money, if you just advertise, it's fucking free to do, and you get shitloads of eyeballs on whatever you put on there.
And I'll back that up by saying the reason I say that is because the world has changed. Yes, there is still people that recommend, but it's very few compared to what it used to be.
Yeah.
We are growing up in a very jealous world at the minute. Like, people don't like other people doing better than them.
Yeah.
And it's got a lot to do with social media because people portray their lives to be 10-10 all the time, when really the reality is not that. And the jealousy kicks in, and anyone doing good, they want to bring down. So
just a few cat noises there so you don't get startled by this interruption. This podcast is independent. I was speaking to a listener the other day, and they said it was really interesting to hear how this podcast is made. So just to explain to anybody who's interested, a lot of the interviews are remote, so there's a lot of organising and chasing and setting up times for busy people to be available. But then there's also making sure people have microphones that are decent, and so the quality of the podcast is good. Then we pay for software that allows us to record each voice independently, which can then be edited afterwards. 2 different locations, 2 different sets of noises, 2 different levels. So we need those voices to be separate files. We also pay for software to actually edit the podcast itself. we have to pay for a distributor to store and distribute the podcast for us. And the goal at the moment is to get the podcast to pay for itself. It actually costs money to run at the moment, which is fine because I really enjoy doing it. But it'd be really great if we could get the podcast to pay for itself. With that in mind, a Patreon has been set up. And what a Patreon is, it allows people to pay for something if they want to. Now, you don't have to pay. It's free to listen to. But if you feel like you enjoy the podcast and you will buy me a pint or the guest a pint, then it's possible to do so if you go to patreon.com/don'ttouchthecat. We appreciate anybody that subscribes, but as mentioned, you really don't have to. It is free. It allows us to carry on doing this and making the podcast better and better. And if we can get the podcast to pay for itself, it's less stressful for me to make. And I can start spending a bit more time on editing. So we record the podcast with the guest, with the microphone that we have to send to them. So we need good equipment. We actually need better equipment than we've got at the moment, but we persevere with what we have for now until the podcast can start making enough money to pay for decent equipment. And hopefully one day, which would be amazing, an actual studio. So there's obviously the time involved in the setup, but then there is a bit of editing required afterwards, and the amount of editing depends on the quality of the recording of the guest. Now, we've got better at doing it. We send the guest a half-decent microphone, but obviously not everybody is set up at home to have a quiet room with as little echo as possible and all the rest of it. So there is a fair bit of editing sometimes that is required afterwards, and this takes time, and it'd be really lovely if we could one day make enough money that actually that time is my job, and I would love that. So any Patreons are very, very appreciated. Patreon.com/don'ttouchthecat. Thank you very much. Back to the podcast. But we don't really socialise. I don't know why that is, though. It's social media, that's why. We don't socialise in person as much, or we don't support. I bet you don't even see your neighbour that often.
No,
we just don't do it anymore. And it'd be nice. No. This is why the only thing I like about Facebook, right? The only fucking thing is the little groups that pop up on Facebook, because the good ones, that is, because there's still some kind of community there where they'll all have each other's back. And this is why I don't understand tradesmen arguing on TikTok. And I still haven't asked you that question, but I will in a minute. So tradesmen, why you don't all have each other's back, I don't know. Because you could buy your stuff from one guy who's also a tiler, who also happens to import fucking something. He could use you for one thing, and you could cut out all the big boys altogether. But by all arguing with each other, you're still giving the status quo all the fucking money. If all tradesmen had each other's back, and all independent businesses... Do you know what it is?
It's ego.
I don't know.
It's ego. The guys, there's certain guys that there's one guy that I had to put his hat on straight because his ego was too big. And you can tell this by the way they talk to you. Like, you can kind of understand that they're talking down to you. They're talking to you. They ain't got no respect for you. They don't respect you. They think they're better than you and this, that, and the other. Like you said, I'm a very, very good judge of character. I can tell whether people are genuine or not. But there's another side to me where I will say things straight, and not many people can handle it, and they can't take it. So if I talk straight to someone, they can be like a bit unexpected. But I say it as I see it.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it.
Well, probably not used to hearing it, because not many people. A lot of people will put up with
too
somebody.
Many people beat around the bush.
Well, they'll put up.
Too many people.
Yeah, they'll put up with someone, and then later on they'll say to their husband or whatever, "Fucking hell, I didn't like him." But you're like, you've just been really nice to him for 2 hours.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. There's so many fake people like that.
Yeah.
And
they just don't want confrontation, that's all.
Listen, we don't all have to get on. We don't all have to like each other. But don't say one thing to someone to their face and then behind their back sort of stab them.
Yeah, you're right.
But that goes on. That just part of life. That's just what it is.
You have to be careful with the ego. You do. I'm one of my things that I used to be proud of, right? And I lost it. I know I did. So when I moved industries a couple of times, and on more than one occasion, some people would say to me like, "It's a breath of fresh air speaking to you," because so I was a buyer at one point, and they'd be like, "It's a breath of fresh air because you're quite honest and same as you. You're blunt, straightforward, and like, it's a yes or a no at least, and at least you've told us no." And on more than one occasion, they would say, "There's no ego. There's no ego there, so we don't mind when you tell us something that we didn't want to really hear." And I'd be like, "That's a nice thing to say." And when I heard it for the second time, I was like, "Fucking hell, that's a bit." But then I know, the more that I worked at this place where I was at, I lost that and I developed an ego. And it took me a while to figure out that I had. I was like, "Fuck, I'm an arsehole now." So it took me a while to figure out this place is making me a bad fucking person. So yeah, you have to be careful with the ego. But I think with trades, sometimes I cut a lot of people a lot of slack out because I've presented to enough tradesmen over the past 3 years. I've met every type possible. Arrogant, scared, clever, fucking genius, some of them, like unbelievable. But I think a lot of the time what you get is, because I've been showing like a product that they may never have seen before. So you get a knee-jerk reaction, which is sometimes like self-preservation. I've said it before. Yeah. So some people would rather than say, "I don't know what that is and I don't know how you use it and I've never seen it before and I've got no experience using something like that. I don't know what it is, I just don't know." Rather than saying that, they would rather say, "That's shit, you're an idiot, this is crap, I would never use that, I would never do it that way, your way's crap." And that's it, they're gone. You'll never win that person over because he's got 20 years experience, he's not interested in anything that he doesn't already know about. And a lot of the time, and like I said, and I've said it, I already backed myself up before I say this, tradesmen know a lot more than fucking reps, majority of the time, in general. But they'll say they've got 20 years experience, and it's true because they've got loads of experience, and you can't replace experience. But they probably haven't been properly trained or actually learned anything from somebody else for 15 years, maybe 18 years. So they're that used to being the boss and telling other people how everything works that when you present them with something that they don't know about, sometimes they can react to it and say like, "Oh, don't like it, shit, don't know, whatever." And I've been experiencing that for 2 or 3 years now. Obviously there's plenty on the other side of it that are like, "Wow," and then they end up helping me because they'll use it and then give me their experience, and then I've got that experience as well, so I'm finding things out.
But you'll find the trades, the genuine trades, the guys that are willing to change or go with new products and stuff. They, like you said, you'll know who they are. You'll know who your customers are, and the people that support you. There's a good group of us on this TikTok that do support each other.
Yeah.
And that's how it should be. Like, I'm not worried about competition. I'll be honest with you. I'm not worried. I don't want that to sound big-headed or anything like that, because it's not. I'm just being honest. I don't really care about the competition. There is no one that can compare to me at what I do. That's how I see it. I'm not worried about the competition. But I can also support other businesses. Why not? Why have you got to create something against someone? I don't understand it. Why have you got to create that rift?
It's a funny one. It's getting into psychology. Like, why do people do that? Because you might think nobody can compare to you. I'm sure somebody can compare to you, and you're very good.
Yeah, there is.
But even if they can, it doesn't matter. They're not you at the end of the day.
No,
They
that's
can
it.
never be you. But even if they can, why is it? Why should it be deemed as competition? Because you can help each other out.
That's right.
It's not like
Yeah.
fucking Coca-Cola
I would
versus
love to
Pepsi, is
find.
it? It's like you can help each other out with work and knowledge,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
there's enough work to go around for everyone. It's a big industry, so I don't get it. Like I said,
Yeah.
I think a lot of the time it's begrudgery, because this is. I said it to Mike when I was speaking to Mike, and it applies to him massively, because what he's doing is he's elevating himself to a level with his showroom and everything.
Yeah.
But because it's Mike, and people might know, I know him, I used to do the same job as him, I used to work for him, he used to work for me, whatever. They can see themselves in his shoes, even though they'll never fucking do it, because they're not him. They can see themselves doing it. Whereas if Mike wasn't putting his face on it and it was just called Wix, for example, they wouldn't have an issue with that. Because they can't see themselves being Wix, which is £1 billion
That's right.
company. They can kind of see themselves doing it, even though they can't. So then they start begrudging him, and they won't use him for materials, or they'll avoid him on purpose.
This is it.
Like, fucking hell, you should be able
Yeah,
to
but this is it. You know, people should always, if you're going to judge someone, judge them on your own experiences, not hearsay or words of others. And that's the problem. People talk crap a lot, and if they don't like something, it's just a reflection on their self. To be honest, that's the way you got to look at it. You know.
Yeah.
You know, just leave it at that.
It's just a shame,
Look,
innit?
if you don't want to
Especially
support,
because you've got social media now. I'm kind of out of it, but in it. I'm not a tradey like you lot, but I'm kind of in it, but kind of not. But I see you lot helping each other out, and like the power of social media. Imagine, so you're linking with, you're in Essex, Mike's in Warrington, Fraser's in Glasgow, where Fraser is, somewhere in Scotland. Sam's in. I'm trying to remember where the reason I know where everyone's from is because I've delivered stuff to you. But you can see where I'm getting at. You don't live together. You're not.
of course,
You're not close to each other in that way. But because of social media, you fucking help each other out, which is great. And can you imagine if everybody did that?
It's good. It's an example. Like this is it's genuine though. Like it's not put on. I speak to Mike regularly, and I know he's had a lot of things against him at the minute, or especially the lead up before the shot. But I just say to him, look, you're nearly there, mate. Like things will change, and you know it's why I've experienced what he's doing. I've done it, so I know what's involved. And it's big. It's big stress. It's big bills. You know, it's big work, and you've got to be a certain type of person to do that in the first place. Like, not everyone can just take that on. Wake up and say, right, I'm going to build a showroom today.
No.
It's
very few people, to be honest, mate. Because see, all the independents, I'm always impressed. Any independent bathroom show, any independent shop, but obviously bathroom showrooms and kitchen showrooms I go to, plumbers, merchants, and things like that. When you go to them, they tend to be the best. Like, I go to everywhere, right? And this is nothing against the big names, because there's some good chains knocking about, but it tends to be the independents who are better, and they tend to look a bit better because they can change a little bit at a time. When a chain wants to change something, it's a fucking big undertaking, and they probably change every 4 or 5 years, whereas the independent can keep chipping away at it and changing this bit and that bit, and they end up looking better. But also they've generally got more knowledge as well and more passion, so they're always better. And I'll always try and deal with them. And the truth is, if you just tile shops, right? So because I know about tiles, if you add all the independent tile shops together, they're bigger than anyone. They're bigger than Tops. Tops are the biggest, but with a single
combined,
name.
they're bigger. Yeah.
If you combine all the independents together, they're bigger than Tops. So can you imagine if they worked together? Can you imagine if the independents could get their heads together and say, let's choose a central location for one of us to order all of the tiles for all of us? You're one step of the way to having the buying power that Tops have got. And it's not that much work. It's just like an agreement to cooperate.
Yeah.
It wouldn't even need all of them, but they won't, because they're all fucking arguing, begrudgery and jealous of each other. So it's like,
yeah. I mean, I think you could. I don't know if it would work. I understand what you're saying. I just don't know whether it would work.
100% it would
the industry
work
on both sides, so I hear what you're saying about combining and having buying power and stuff like that, but there'd be a lot more mouths to feed on that part than there is on Tops's part, if you was to compare those two.
Not really, because you're right, because there'd be lots more opportunity for argument, because there'll be too many fucking directors of businesses all talking. But it wouldn't, to compare it to mouths to feed, Tops will have way more mouths to feed because of all the marketing and employees and fucking massive warehouse, all their overheads. The independents, if they just got their heads together, it would be very, very difficult to do, because there'd be, I don't know, let's say 50 of them got their heads together, there'd be 50 business owners. And it would be difficult. It would be difficult to get them all to on the same page.
I understand the concept of what you're saying. If it could work, there is benefits there. But it's getting it to work.
It'd be difficult.
I was having the conversation today, and the question I do get asked the most is the showroom. Would you do it again? I would. I would do it again. Do I miss it? No. Am I happier? Yes. With the showrooms, especially when they're your own, they take a lot out of you, because I found myself, it was my business, so I was there all the time. But I was also doing the installations. Now, early on, I used to see the clients in, show them the options that they, that suited them, and then I'd turn up at their house and fit it. And it was like, oh, you do the fitting as well? I was like, yeah.
That was my twin brother was the salesman.
That was how it was, and where I'd got used to it being like that, I was building the business before I could employ anyone. I was everywhere doing deliveries. I was doing this, picking that up, dropping that off, doing that, tiling that floor, tiling the walls, waterproofing this. It was hectic. So I've had a good experience, but I've also had a bit of a bad experience, because I haven't really been able to just concentrate on one thing and one thing only. I've had to concentrate on a million things, but that's what comes with owning a business.
Explain how the showroom. How did the showroom come about? Like, what's the beginning of the showroom?
Well, the beginning of the showroom was the reason that I had a business partner, and we built one successful business, and it was then looking for the next thing, which was to go into the showrooms. We was doing a lot of tiling and bathrooms for other contractors. I was just fed up with tiling over their shit, to be honest with you. The preparation was crap. It was just very poorly done, and they just wanted to maximise on their money, and just the tiler will get over that and make it look nice type of attitude. So it was a combination of having too much of that, and then really sort of saying, no, I'm better than this. I can do this myself. I don't need these guys. I'm going to do it myself. And that was the attitude that I sort of had, and that's where I followed it up and built a showroom with no knowledge or no insight into that side of the things. We just went head first. it was an immaculate showroom. It was commented daily. Everyone that come in was like, wow, it was that place. But that was how I wanted it to be. But then I had a good 2-3 years before COVID. COVID came and it really slowed me up. Couldn't open. I was trying to find ways around of being open. Weren't allowed to be open. Then we had to have this in place. And it just took the momentum away. And then me and my business partner saw things completely differently, started to see things differently, and I sort of saw for what it was, and I was like, do you know what? I'm better off out of this. I'm better off on my own. And that was that sort of parted partnership and started again on my own. At the time, it was a little bit like, don't understand it. Why has it worked out like this? Now, I understand why it worked out like this. Things don't work out how you sometimes want them to. They work out unexpectedly, and this was a blessing in disguise, because now the hard work that I put in, I'm able to benefit from how I should, if you know what I mean. So yeah, it was a tough journey, but it was also a very good learning curve. I wouldn't make see now when people ask me, would I do a showroom again? I would do it a certain way, but I wouldn't do it how I had it. How I had it, it was too big. It was too big, and it doesn't need to be that big. That conception of bigger is better. It's not. It's a false economy. It's not better. It's a false economy. Anything big is going to cost you more, and if you ain't making big money, you are not going to be able to make it work. Now, I would keep it very, very small, but I think I'm on the road. I'm at the bottom of that road. Do I go up it? Do I not? I'm itching to get up there just to see what it's like. But
well,
look, I'm never going to say never.
You've got the experience.
There might be a road back to the showroom.
You could do it, and you could avoid a lot of things that you maybe didn't want to do before. How does it work? So you had a showroom, and
yeah,
I guess it was during COVID, so it's not normal, is it? But how does it work?
No, we had it.
Just deciding to close the doors. Like, do you just say, right, fuck it, that's it now? And how does that work?
It was straight after COVID. As I said, my business partner weren't interested anymore, and I was like, right, okay. So I was like, right. Well then, he wanted his way. I wanted it, to do things a certain way, and we just both said, it's best you go your way, I'll go my way. So that was why really the showroom closed. It was due to partnership going our separate ways. Now, after COVID, we had a really, really, probably had one of the best quarters we've ever had. Everything that I had in the bank before COVID literally went during COVID, because I still had to pay the rent, I still had to pay the bills, but where there was no income, that pot was just getting smaller and smaller, and it was practically 2 years we were shut for, near enough, which is a long time. And there was no, I'll put the brakes on, don't worry about paying us our rent, or no, don't worry about that bill, we'll let you off this month. It wasn't like that. Everyone still wanted their money, so it kind of wiped me out. But then when we was allowed to be back open, we had the best quarter. But it was at the same time where we both wanted to just get away. And as I said, it was a blessing in disguise. But I might be on the road. Don't know how long it would take, but I might be on the road. I am.
Well,
That's my truthful, honest current situation. I'm looking at that road right now, and I'm going, do I go up it? And if I go up it, it's going to be done now with more knowledge, make smarter choices. Don't listen to these reps as much about you got to have this and you got to have that number of stuff, because that is just, it's just bully tactics. I won't stand for it. I won't work with them. But that's how I want it to be. I'm going to do it my way.
yeah.
Within reason. I don't want to, but I fell for a lot when we done the first one. I fell for a lot of crap that they gave me. They fed me a lot of shit, and I just bought it. And it was like, I didn't even need that. Do you see what I mean? When you got that time to, because you're investing thousands. We're big thousands. We're not talking a few £100. We're talking big thousands.
Yeah. Well,
And
listen,
when you buy,
I said this earlier. I'm one of those people, right? So I'll be in front of you saying, "Oh, buy this thing. It's fucking great." But I've been on the other side of that, so working for showrooms and whatever, big chain. So I know what it can be like. They'll say, "You need to have this stand, and it needs to be full, and you need to have 10 of every colour in the fucking on earth." And you're like, "All right, I'll do it because it looks cool, and I like your brand, and we want to sell your stuff." But then you've got 75% of the stuff's going to go out of date, or you're never going to sell it. I had when I started, I won't mention where it was, but I worked for a big chain, right? When I started, I came from automotive, so I came from automotive into retail as a buyer. So from super fucking aggressive automotive world, which is like, tell me everything. Tell me how many seconds you're going to spend peeling that piece of leather off that piece of plastic. And if it takes 1 second less than you told me, I'm having that 1 second. So that kind of aggressiveness. Because that 1 second over 20 million Toyota Yaris's over 10 years is a lot. It adds up. So I took that attitude into retail. It's like fucking rude awakening. Because I've then got, one of the first things that they gave to me was, right, we've got all these not trims, like laminate flooring trims in the shops. And we've got wood floor, engineered flooring, laminate flooring, fucking LVT. And I'm like, whoa, what the fuck? Like, every shop is stocked to the fucking gills with trims of all colours and everything that you don't need. So my reaction to that is, all right, stop doing this, discontinue natural wood, stop selling the trims they don't sell, and that's like, whoa, we can't do that, you'll fall out with the suppliers, you'll piss the supplier. And I was like, isn't it my job to piss the suppliers off? I'm like, no, you need a good I'm like, yeah, you're quite right, I need a good relationship with the suppliers, but that doesn't mean the suppliers rule the fucking roost. And
no.
On some of the smaller businesses where you need them a bit more than the bigger chains did, I can imagine they've got much more sway over those smaller businesses, making them stock a silly amount of stuff that they don't actually need, and that's affected what I do now. So if Mike, for example, if he wanted to stock my stuff, I would say you can just, for a while, like 6 to 12 months, you can buy as much as you want and you can stock as much as you want. In 6 to 12 months, let's have a conversation of what I think you're selling, because I'll keep my eye on it, and then we can start talking about minimum orders and fucking minimum stock quantities and things like that. But if I'm trying to flog you something, I need to prove to you that it's going to make you money. I'm not just trying to get 100 grand's worth of sales and then disappear, which does happen, because they'll move on to the next one, and then
yeah, it does.
The thing is that it's not their business, so they'll say, right, I've put loads of stock into a big chain, and now that chain's got a mess of fucking laminate trims or whatever else is in there. The rep who got the bonus for doing it now works for fucking Tesco, doing like another sales job somewhere. It wasn't his business. He's going to move from job to job to job. He doesn't give a fuck. So I understand now, and it actually is my business, and I'm talking to another business owner, so I understand to say, like, listen, I'll look after you. Hopefully you'll make some money, and then in 6 to 12 months' time, you'll look after me. And that's the way it should be.
Yeah, I mean, an example, when we was sorting out the showroom, I think the brassware alone cost us 10 grand just for the showroom displays. 10 grand. And we were getting bills like that on a regular.
Yeah.
It's a hell of a lot of money. That's just 10 grand in brassware, yeah?
Yeah.
Forget the other bits you need.
Yeah. I go into shops, like independent shops, even like a sweet shop or something, or the local shop that's got bread.
You don't get that product for free. You've got to buy that product.
That's what I think. So I'm in the local shop up here that's like everybody goes and gets the bread and milk and drops off the parcels and what have you. And I fucking admire them because they've become a post office, a supermarket, and a fucking off license. Some of them are actually post offices, so they have to learn all that shit that people bring in. But then I walk around that shop thinking, bloody hell, I couldn't open this shop even if I wanted to, because I couldn't afford the stock. Just the stock of bread and biscuits, and there's fucking thousands of pounds worth of stuff here. This guy's taking a risk. So I respect it.
Yeah, I mean, business, when you get to that, to do that where you're offering a showroom or a shop, the input money-wise is big money, man. It's big money. But you also, you want to do it to a standard. You want to do it to a standard where it's a good standard and it's a high quality. So that's going to take time. It's going to cost you money because you've got to buy better products, this, that, and the other. But it is, and when things are stacked against you, it's like, mate, I've just done a fortune in here. Please just work, and you're like, because that's all you are. It's all you're hoping for. That you literally want to get to the finish line and then just.
And I know what them shops are like as well, because obviously I used to help to look after hundreds of them.
They're not busy every day.
No, you can have 2 weeks where you get not a single
There's no
sale.
one in.
Yeah. So you're paying people's wages. You need your own work. You're paying the bills.
You're paying the lights.
And you're really relying on the busy days and the busy months.
Yeah. Saturdays were dead.
It's hard work.
See, these are all the things, right? You're reminding me of all the things that I hated about the business.
Yeah.
That it is quiet. Saturdays were just non-existent. You might as well have not even been open on a Saturday. I put myself in the position now. When Saturday comes, I don't want to do nothing. I've worked all week. So that's why places are quiet.
Yeah.
Because people are just exhausted throughout the week. They just want their own time. They don't want to go out and spend 20 grand on a bathroom do you see what I mean? They don't want to do that.
Yeah.
So you can understand it.
That's why I trade your bread and butter. I wish you to say that.
But this is it. And now, this is why I always give two different answers when people ask that question, because you've just now reminded me of all the things I hated about it. And now my mind has changed. I'm like, no, fuck it. I don't want to do it again, because the build up to getting it perfect, or as perfect as you can be, and the time that you put into it, that just deflates you when it's like that.
Yeah.
So
say that's just owning a business, though, that is, mate. I get that, right? So I go through waves of if you don't make a sale for a day or 2 days or whatever, you're like, oh no. But then I go through other waves, the complete fucking opposite, when you're making more sales and you might run out of stock. That's a different kind of stress. So that's stress. You're always stressed one way or another when you own your own business.
Yeah.
So,
but then
I would say do it, because you fucking stress yourself out now doing what you do. Now you might as well make it bigger.
What I'm doing now is very manageable.
No, if you're happy,
very comfortable.
Yeah, if you're happy.
Do you know what? I'm probably the happiest I've ever been.
Yeah.
And when people say like, what what would make you happy? Honestly, like I'm just living life now, and I'm enjoying life. I'm
Yeah.
working. There's nothing's going against me, if you see what I mean.
Yeah.
So there isn't really anything for me to dislike at this point in time.
Yeah.
But adding, I know without taking risks you don't grow. I get that, but
You don't have to grow though. That's the thing.
it's no. Well, when you say that, it's
You don't have to, do you?
do you want to add that stress to your life? At the minute, no, I flipping don't.
Some people do.
Would I like to have one and it cost me nothing? Yes, I would. But the reality is, it's going to cost me a fortune.
Well, do
And
it.
do I want to invest all that money again? I don't know.
Well, you don't have to, do you? I'm sure somebody would
No.
invest. Somebody, you could easily sell somebody that you could do it, because you clearly can. So you could do it and share it. Get somebody to put the money up. I'm sure they would. And then it's like less of a risk to you, but still risky enough for that person to be confident you're not just going to fucking make a mess of it. So there's ways of doing it without risking your own money, especially with your experience.
There's ways of doing things, but let's see what the future holds. I'm just doing what I need to do at the minute. Let's see where it goes.
If you're happy, mate, that's it. That's all you need.
Yeah, that's it.
You don't need anything else.
That's it.
So we took a massive detour from you. We actually didn't get past your training. So you trained yourself.
Yeah. Self-taught.
Yeah. What do you actually think of training in general these days? Have you got an apprentice?
No. So, I try and teach my boys. My youngest is one I think that's going to follow me. But it's like anything. Going back to the bit where I said about experience, the stage I'm at, I need experienced people. For me to take someone on without experience is going to put me backwards. But it's also going to give me be like an investment. So you've got to weigh up where you are currently. Can you afford to train someone, or are you looking for someone with experience to help push you on? But I'm self-taught. I'm confident enough if I had a labourer or an apprentice, I could teach them. They'd be watching it every day. They'd be able to learn. But yeah, it's
tricky
one of them.
It
is.
I've said this multiple times as well. I think it's up to the government, right? Because everything that you've just said, not your son, because obviously that's different, but if you were to bring a young lad, that's your risk. So, and people have moaned at me before when I say this, but you've got to pay him at least minimum wage, which is fucking shit, I know that, but you've got to pay it for someone who doesn't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
You've got to take extra time doing stuff, so that's your money again. You've got to hope that maybe not hope, but you've got to mould him so he doesn't actually let you down or fuck off after you've spent a lot of time and a lot of money on him. And that's all at your risk, the business owner, the sole trader, and you get nothing off the government. And then the government will bring a report out that says, this report says that in 20 years' time, there will be no tilers. You're like, alright, so why don't you fund it now? So in 20 years' time, there are some tilers. And they could say to someone like yourself, we bring a lad on, we'll pay him off for a year or 2 years or whatever. We'll send him college. We'll make sure he's up to scratch with the basics. And then at least you've halved the risk to yourself.
Yeah.
And your job then is to work with this young person to make sure he stays loyal to you and doesn't just fuck off when he thinks he can go off on his own. and it doesn't exist. I think Jordan explained to me, I can't remember what it was now, but it was nothing. I think you might get £1,000, but after a certain period of time, maybe after 2 years even, or there's a long period of time where then the government will say, all right, we'll give you £1,000, and the guy or the girl had to have stayed with you for all that time as well. So I understand it. I get why people won't bring apprentices on, but it's fucking dangerous for the country because it's not just tiling, it's all trades.
It's all trades. I mean, I had this conversation with a friend of mine a few weeks ago. He called up asking if I could help him out. And I said to him, how are you getting on? And he said, no. He said, not good. He said, why is it that I've got every single trade working for me, but yet they always put me in the shit? And I said, it's simple, mate. He said, did you not work that out yet? He went, what? They don't give a shit. That's why. I said, you can have all the trades in the world. All they're interested in is getting paid. They don't care about anything else. It's like, yeah, but, I had this vision of building a big building company and having all this. And, I mean, it's all bullshit, mate. It doesn't work in today's world. There's very few businesses that work, right? And there is some that do work really, really well. But if you ask them openly and honestly, they'll all tell you that it's ag. It's ag. They're all ag, all of them. Deal with this. He can't turn up because he's had too much the night before. He had falling out. You hear all the stories.
Yeah, I've had this conversation before, right? So that was me, and it was probably you as well.
Yeah,
we did that. But you have to cut some slack. But when I was an apprentice, it wasn't a sole trader taking the risk. It was a massive company, so they could absorb it a bit more. And they looked after me.
That's the difference. Yeah, that's the difference. I think, and there's a lot of business that are financially backed, and that makes a big difference in today's world. If you've got businesses that are financially backed by investment companies, building or whatever type of investment they've got, they're able to stand up to anything. They can absorb a lot. You get a one-man band that's grown into a 10, 20-man team. He's had a different journey, mate. He's not getting no financial backing.
Yeah.
It's costing him money to run every single day.
Yeah. It's hard for them to grow as well then.
Yeah, of course it is. I mean, it's very hard to find that perfect team where you've got settled individuals that have been there for 10, 15 years and they're experienced. They know exactly, because people move around. Whoever's paying the most money, that's where they go.
Yeah.
And even if you pay the most money, you don't always mean you're going to get the best trades, because it's a difficult one.
Yeah.
Especially now, growing a business is very, very difficult. That's why I just keep mine. I'm not interested in having 20, 30, because I know there's not 20 or 30 people that want to do the way I do it or work for me or whatever.
Yeah.
I'll just keep it small. I can control the quality that way. And a reputation matters more to me than money.
Yeah.
That's the truth. Like, I would rather have a 10-10 score. You see what I mean? Because I'm proud about the way I work, the way I do things.
Yeah, the way you work, one follows the other. Anyway, you're basically, you put your face out there quite a lot. And your reputation is your fucking money.
Yeah,
it wouldn't take much.
But that's how not many people understand it like that. So forget money. The money comes. The money will come. If you're good at something, the money will follow you. So don't worry. But not many people understand that.
Yeah.
They don't get it.
It's hard, especially when you're young and you just want some money and you're just like, can you give me a job, like any fucking job, and can you pay me a lot, even though I don't know what I'm doing? Because I was the same. I'd be like, why?
But that's actually true to how it is today.
Yeah, of course it is. That's just young people. You have to train them, but you have to.
I'm trying to teach my young kids at the minute.
Yeah.
I'm trying to teach the boys. I'm trying to say to them, look, come and help your dad. Come with me. I'll pay you a few quid. Well, how much are you paying me? Oh, don't worry about how much I'm paying you. I said, you're going to come and learn.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, my mate goes to work with his dad and he gets 50 quid a day. I said, well, I ain't paying you 50 quid a day. I'm going to give you 30 quid a day. How about that? Oh, I ain't coming then. And it's like, no, you're coming to work because I want you to learn.
Yeah.
I want you to learn something. Even if you don't do it
Yeah.
later on in life, I want you to learn something.
Yeah, it'll hold them in good stead no matter what they end up doing. But the conversation, I get that conversation. I've had that conversation myself before. But the conversation there is, all right, even if your mate's getting 100 quid a day, what's he doing for 100 quid a day? Let's say he's labouring. He's actually doing some fucking physical work and doing a good job. What's he learning? Nothing. He might be picking bits up here and there. What you're offering is, you can come with me today and literally do nothing but learn. But a young person, it's very difficult to drill that into it, to get them to understand. You can come and learn something for free or get paid or whatever. You might not get as much as going to do that other thing for now, but later on you'll get more. Try and explain that to a young person. It's very, very fucking difficult. And that's why they move around a lot and expect more than perhaps they're worth, which sounds terrible, but that's just the truth.
Yeah.
They always learn the hard way. I was the same, mate. Everybody learns the hard way.
We've always learned the hard way,
Yeah. So training wise, what I think you've already established you didn't really do anything, did you? Yourself?
No.
You just self-taught?
Yeah,
So
it was just
how
practice.
did you start? So obviously you do quite high-end, like very high-end stuff now, and like pretty bespoke kind of stuff for basically whatever. How did that start? Did you just...
Yeah, just you do one, you do two, and it's sort of that client recommends you to that one, and before you know it, you just sort of develop a clientele. And all my clientele, I like to say and like to call as professional people. You know, I like to deal with professional people throughout, really, because it's just a better way out. It's just a way I prefer to work. But the clients that I get are very much the same in that respect, where they know what they want. And they're like, this is what I'd like it to be. Can we do that? Yep, it's fine, no problem. I know what their expectations are because I've had the discussions with them. So it's kind of...
So I see people asking you, right? I see people asking you questions. Obviously, I can't join in because I can't fucking answer them. But you're getting asked questions by guys, generally younger lads, saying, "How did you start this, that, and the other?" But sometimes they're like, and I know where they're coming from because they don't have the clientele that you have. So they're asking you questions, but where they're coming from is they perhaps quoted for a job where they're competing with 20 quid a square metre people, and so they're trying to come to you, and you're in a different world at the moment to them, and maybe they need to build up to get there. Have you ever found yourself in that scenario? And I guess you don't anymore, do you? But do they ever, price wise and quoting and things like that? Because you see that discussion a lot. How much should I quote for this, and what's this? But I guess you don't get that.
But that, when it comes to quoting, you've got to be able to quote, you've got to have experience in, because every client's different. Some will go and buy £10 a metre tiles from Wicks. I've done those jobs. I've worked in tiny, tiny rooms. I've worked with the most horriblest material there is. It's just a growth within the industry. Like, you learn from one job to another, and once you complete that, you gain that experience to move on to the next job. And it's like a set of steps. Yeah, you just keep climbing.
It's that, it's
So you're gathering
experience,
all
isn't
this
it?
experience.
It's that word again. It's just experience and just sticking with it, and eventually you'll
And it's
find
just
yourself doing something that you didn't really have a plan to get there, but you've got there.
when I set out, I said to myself, I want to be the best I can be. Like that, I want to be the best at this game I can possibly be. And that was always in the back of my mind, and that was why I was a geek when it comes to the industry, and I'd absorb everything, I'd watch everything, I'd learn as much as I can. But the only time I could practice was on when I won a job, when I priced the job, and when I won it. So, for instance, at the beginning, I did a lot of floors. I remember there was one job, very, very, very. It was one of my first jobs. I'll never forget it. And I don't think anyone in their chosen career will ever forget the very first job they had. Anyway, it was uncalibrated slate, 30 by 30 uncalibrated slate, tiling on a old floor that had bitumen tiles, the tiles stuck down with bitumen. So the bitumen was there for a damp course. Now, tile adhesive doesn't like that stuff. It doesn't stick to it. So, well, I was unaware of that. I didn't have no experience. So I used an acrylic primer and I painted over the floor and then I tiled straight on top. Started set out in the kitchen. As I was making my way into the downstairs cloakroom, the toilet was still in position. Now, if I'd have had experience, I would have spotted that toilet at the very beginning. I didn't even know there was a toilet in there. The lady had said to me, everything's been taken out. It's ready for you to tile. That's it. So anyway, I'm working my way through, got into the little corridor, about to go into the toilet, and I was like, the toilet's there. I can't tile around the toilet. Oh, you didn't say anything. I was like, well, I thought it was a bit obvious, like you take stuff out, but toilet was there. So I was like, right, I've got to cut round this toilet in slate. How am I going to do that? I've never cut round a toilet, and it wasn't rounded front. It had the awkward, so it was like it had two squints on the side, so it got fatter and then it got skinnier. So it wasn't even an easy shape to cut round. I didn't have experience. I didn't know how to do it, so I cut it square. And I grouted in around the toilet. And I am that job sometimes flashes back at me. And I go, I can't believe. Now, today, I go, I can't believe I left it like that. But I didn't have the experience. And that's me being honest. I didn't have the experience there. So that's where I learned I would never, ever do that again. And I would insist that pan comes out and it gets refitted afterwards. But by saying that, now through experience, I learned how to take toilets out. Because of jobs like that, they couldn't get a plumber. Right, I'll take it out myself because I ain't having the same mistake again.
This was 17 years ago.
Oh, this was right at the beginning.
So somewhere you're lucky because they didn't exist, but somewhere 17 years ago in some fucking tiling group somewhere, there's photos of that.
There's probably a picture.
Where someone saying,
probably a picture.
What the fuck? And then someone else try and stick up for you, saying, "Oh, it's probably his first job, and you need to ask him if he knew what he was doing." And someone else like, "Well, what a pile of shit." Like, yeah, you have to cut people slack because you don't know. It might be his first job, and he might be willing to go back and fix it. Or
I'll be honest with you, it looked like that part looked like a DIYer's job. You know, all it was missing was the silicone slung on with the end of a broom. But yeah, it's, there was that. I learned a lot from that. And see when things don't go right, you're still learning.
That's when you learn more.
They didn't go right.
Yeah, that's when you learn more.
You learn even more.
Yeah.
So whether you do something right or wrong, you're always going to learn something from it. And that was just how I gained experience. And as I said, I never got many opportunities to practice before I actually went out and started charging. I didn't. So, but it's made me who I am today. When I go into someone's house, I protect absolutely everything. I clean up. I leave everything spotless, because one negative comment or something that they're not happy with hits me hard, and I don't like it. Even to this day, I don't like it.
I suppose these days that if anybody's listening who's new, who might end up having to cut fucking slate around the toilet, you've got social media. So I think it's good what
Slate's
you did.
not a big thing at the minute, so there probably won't be much on there.
But they might, whatever. But something like that. They've got social media, so all you have to do is ask. Find the good groups or find the good people to follow, because there is some places where we'll just take the piss out of you for asking. But if you're in the good groups and you're following the right people, they'll give you the answer. They might even come and help you. Mm-hmm. So these days it's a bit different. If you're willing to ask, you probably get the help. How do you get work? So nowadays you're just getting recommendations and social media.
A lot of it is recommendation. Social media is weird because I get it in floods. So they'll message me on Instagram, but tell me that they follow me on TikTok. And they couldn't message me on TikTok, so they messaged me on Instagram.
I get that. It's funny, isn't it?
So it's strange.
They don't see TikTok as a messaging place.
No, but I've got my website on there. So it's on my website. It's very straightforward. Click on the website and it takes you through a contact form. So you can fill in your details and I'll give you a call or send you an email back. So it's pretty simple. But yeah, I get messages on Instagram. And clients come to me that way. Recommendation is always the best one. I find the stuff that I do get, the inquiries that I do get from social can be a bit of a waste of time. Now I try and vet people before I go out, and I just sort of say to them, look, have you got a budget in mind of where you want to be? What sort of expectations have you got in the bathroom? You know, and try and suss people out that way, because I'll be honest with you, I went to see one and it was just like, the guy was really odd with me. It was a bit uncomfortable, and then his wife turned up. Until his wife turned up, I felt comfortable. Put it that way. I'm not saying, no, hold on a minute. I'm not saying that anything like that, but his wife turned up and she sort of said, Is that the guy you was talking about? And he went, yeah. And I was like, what? Yeah, my husband watches all your stuff, and he was just so excited, like he couldn't believe that you was actually responded to him and was going to come out and see the job. And I was like,
that's good.
Yeah, it's nice, but just be straight with me. I'm a straight talker, so just be straight with me. If you do things a little bit, it can come across a little bit weird, you know. But anyway, I priced the job. He accepted everything. And then it was never heard from him again. And I was like, due to start in the next 2 weeks. We need to sort out this, and this.
Well, I just wanted you
Blank.
out of the house.
Just disappeared.
That is weird.
And it was like, what was the point of that? I'd booked him in. It was just very, very odd, very odd. But it's weird. See, that's why now I vet people.
People are weird. Generally, I'm weird.
Yeah, I know, but
people are weird, and you're dealing with them all the time.
But would you make yourself busy for no reason and then agree to go through with something but not really want to have it done?
So there's two things that happened with this guy. He saw you as a celebrity, and he wanted to see if you'd come around, and then didn't know what to do when you actually fucking turned up, or he genuinely, something happened and he just ghosted you. He didn't want to say, cars broke down or lost my job. I haven't really got that much money. I didn't think it'd cost that much, so it was easier for him to just ignore you. You must get ignored a lot as a tradesman. When people just don't want to say no, even though you fucking respect a no more than nothing. But yeah, it could have been anything. I'm hoping he was a weirdo and he just wanted to see you.
It was strange. It was strange. But yeah, that's the strangest it's ever been. That's the strangest it's ever been for me. So,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Social media wise, so the only reason you do it, you've already told me, to basically advertise yourself and help other people with everything that's going on with it at the moment. Because I always say this to people as well. If you've got a following on social media and you create content and people actually watch it and they enjoy watching it, why shouldn't you make money? A lot of people think like, I don't really want to make money from social media, but you can without ruining it. Do you know what I mean? It's still the same. People still enjoy seeing it, but actually you've created something now where you can make money from it. So I don't see the reason why you shouldn't. It's like it's entertainment now. People might spend more time watching you than they do the BBC, genuinely.
Yeah.
So why shouldn't you? Without changing it too much. Obviously, if you start pushing loads of shit products and things like that, that's silly. But if you just carry on doing what you're doing, and you're able to make money by doing that, I don't see there's an issue with that. But from what you've said, you haven't even considered it yet.
No, I mean, I'm not interested in pushing products or anything like that. If it's got anything to do with my own brand, then yes. And if it's people that I believe in and I can recommend what it is they sell and do, then I will. I'll stand by that. But yeah, I'm not going to start selling dinner plates and coffee cups and
Why not?
phone cases,
Why
razors.
Yeah, chief razor blade seller now. Like I say, I won't. I definitely won't be doing that. That's a fucking guarantee. That was like more like an experiment more than anything.
It's a good experiment to do because you're trying to see whether TikTok are going to control what it is you're able to post.
To be honest,
the
mate,
algorithm.
With me, I think if you look at my TikTok, and I'm genuinely not interested in, I don't know, someone like I don't know. I won't mention any names, but someone who genuinely wants a TikTok channel and that's what they want to do.
Yeah.
I know I'm not going to do that. I know I'm not. So I would just like more followers. So if I ever do get a video that does well, I'll get paid for it, and that's just being honest. But I genuinely think my lack of views and followers and stuff is because the content's not that fucking interesting. It's just a random video about grout every now and again. Do you know what I mean? So some people will be interested in it, but in general, it's very, very niche. So it's like I'm never going to have loads of followers doing that kind of stuff. Maybe the podcast. I've got another account for the podcast, but even that one, it's hard because what do? I won't do video, and I've always said I won't do a video podcast until I've got my own studio, and that video that gets created is worth watching. Because at the moment, I don't think somebody watching two talking heads is worth it, and I think it's better to have it just audio at the moment. I'll only do video when I can do something unique with the video that people will be like, wow, this is cool. But I don't know what that is yet, but that's when that's for the future.
I mean, podcasts, I've listened to all of your podcasts. I was doing a job up in Milton Keynes. So it was a good hour and a half, nearly an hour and 40 minutes in the morning. So I managed to listen every morning and on the way home, most of your podcasts. Well, I don't know. Don't Touch the Cat. I watched all of them. I listened to all of them the whole way. So
this podcast isn't really my podcast. So the whole point of it was, you probably heard me say this before. It's not my podcast, even though I'm like the facilitator. The point of this podcast is, so when in my old jobs, which is generally office jobs, I was around like busy people. But I know now they weren't really busy. They're just fucking pretending to be busy. So I would every now and again bump into people who interested me, and I'd be like, and I used to go home and I'd be like, you need to talk less. You're talking too much in these meetings with whoever it may be. And but after a while, I'm like, actually, because I started getting more senior and more responsibility, and I'm like, they're not actually fucking doing anything. They're just saying that they're busy. They're not busy.
Yeah.
They just want to leave as fast as possible and delegate everything. So I used to find myself like wanting to talk to somebody more because they were genuinely interesting. They've been around forever. Anyway, fast forward to like working for myself, and I was like, do you know what? I used to tell myself not to talk as much, but that's not what was the problem. I was just interested in certain things, and so I was like, I could have a podcast and speak to people in the trade on social media because you all kind of know each other, but not you don't really know each other. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So back to the point, the podcast isn't mine. The podcast is whoever the guest is. It's your podcast. The purpose of the podcast really is for other people who could perhaps relate to you to listen to your story, basically. And I'm just here to attempt to have some kind of structure to the questions, which tends to go out the window most of the times, but at least there's something there. And hopefully people listening can relate to what you're saying and take something from it for themselves. Well, yeah, that sounds like me as well. But that's the whole point, really. It's not about me. It's genuinely. So that's why I don't tend to show my face. Never mention my name, really. I know you did earlier on one of your things. I'm not bothered if people know, but it's not really about me. It's hopefully it'll get popular just through like-minded people being able to relate with the guest. I'm just listening.
Well, that's it.
That's it, really. So, away from work, I know what your answer is going to be to this. What do you do away from work?
Not much.
More work. Yeah. Same as everybody.
More work.
Yeah. Everybody. There's only one guest I've had on that had loads of hobbies that made me jealous. Martin, Mastic Man.
Yeah.
And he was like, BMX, fucking cars, whatever, loads of things. I was like, I haven't got a hobby. You're depressing me. I don't do anything.
No, I mean,
I just work.
I have my boys every other weekend. I've got them 2 nights in a week. Well, I say I've got them 2 nights in a week. We meet up for dinner. So my life is very structured anyway. So yeah. So when I'm with them, I'm either teaching them how to build a garden room, or I'm teaching them. We're always doing things together, but I'm still trying to make it as fun as I can for them. But yeah, I don't have no hobbies. I mean, the boys are into quad bikes and stuff like that, and I love it. I love quad bikes. So.
I saw your quad the other day. Do you know what
recent.
I saw that, and immediately when I see something like that, I think you can't go on that. Yeah. As in you. I knew it was yours because it had your name and stickers on it and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, he shouldn't go on that because if he gets injured, he's fucked.
Yeah.
That's my first instinct with things like that.
Absolutely loved it. It was brilliant. It was nice that the boys can just sort of have fun and get all their gear on, their helmets on and their gloves on and their boots and this, that and the other, and just have a good day with other guys that are exactly the same, and that's nice. I say I'm probably, as they're getting older, the things that they're interested in are now classed as their hobbies.
Yeah.
Where they can't take themselves to it, I'm having to take them to it because I'm their dad. But it's actually becoming my hobby as well. It's weird.
Yeah.
It's strange.
Yeah.
It's strange. So yeah. It's like we had I bought them about 5 years ago. I bought 2 Yamaha Breeze 125. They're like from 1980 something, 1990. So they're old school farm quads. but they are bulletproof engine-wise. I've had them for 5 years. Two of the years they've been locked away. So this summer, me and my youngest, he's so into the mechanics of the bikes and
Cool.
stuff. He knows what a carburetor does and what it shouldn't do and this, that and the other. And I'm like, yeah, all right, okay. I ain't really got much knowledge on it. But anyway, I'm learning from him because we're stripping it down. And before you know it, I'm fixing quad bikes and, so it's good.
Brilliant.
So their hobbies are becoming my hobbies, if you like.
You have loads of hobbies then. You do have hobbies.
Do have hobbies, yeah, but it's through my kids.
Yeah.
I've never really, apart from, I used to play football when I was younger, but that all got knocked on the head because work was more important. If I got injured, I wouldn't be able to survive. So, but yeah, the boys are my hobbies.
Yeah. We kind of touched on it as well, but have you got like plans for the future? You said to be honest, mate, from what you said, I'm like, if you're happy, that's
there is goals. I think I wouldn't say plans. I've got goals.
Yeah.
There's goals. There's things I want to achieve. Some people say they're materialistic things, which they are, but to me, they're a goal. They're a stone that I want to hit. But then, ultimately, none of it is really important anyway. It's like, do you see what I mean? Like happiness, being happy is tops everything.
Yeah.
And you can have nothing and still be happy.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think it is hard if you haven't got. People always say money doesn't make you happy, but if you've got very little money, a little bit of money can actually help you out because it can stabilize you. So I think that's actually, I'd be quite happy if I could just do what I do, and it made me comfortable, and it paid the bills, and it was kind of secure, but it's never secure, so that's never going to happen. That's it. I'd be done. I don't have any goals to buy any nice things. Don't care about cars. No interest in anything like that. I used to.
Yeah.
Not bothered anymore. Why do I give a fuck? When I was like that, I wouldn't have done this either. I would have been too embarrassed in case anybody figured out it was me. I wouldn't have shown my face on social media because I'd be embarrassed in case somebody who I never fucking talked to saw it. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't matter anymore. I don't care about anything like that anymore. I just need to be secure.
I think,
and that's it. I'm done.
Anybody should not give two shits about what other people think.
It doesn't matter.
Ever.
Apart from your close family, that's it.
Yeah, but then
if something you're doing is going to affect your family, then I'd think about it.
Of course, but we're not talking about things in a negative way. We're talking things in a positive.
Don't be
way.
embarrassed and
don't. I mean, in a positive what I mean is by a positive way is anything good for you and your family. You shouldn't think twice. If it's an achievement that you want to achieve, go for it.
Yeah.
There'll be people that will support you and there'll be people that won't support you. There'll be people that like it and won't like it. It's just, that's just how it is. It's just a 50-50 mix. So
the big one's social media for me. I mean, it's not a thing for me, I don't think, but I'll always do it because of the business and I'll promote things. But there's loads of people, trades, well, not just trades, but let's say trades, and they could literally make money. Use that razor thing as an example. I've been bed twice since I made 5-minute video. I've been bed twice, and it's on £100 now. Like, I've made £100 commission while I'm asleep for a fucking 3-minute video, really. And I'm not good at that kind of thing. I don't have the charisma, and there's a lot of trades, men and women, or not just trades, but in general, and they won't do it because they're worried about somebody seeing it. Who's probably their friend, but they're worried about them seeing it and they never see that fucking person. And even if they do, so what? If they think what you did was embarrassing, who are they going to tell? Who are they going to tell?
That's so.
One other person. Who gives a fuck?
Yeah, that's social media virginity. That is like that. You're scared. Like, someone might laugh at me, or someone might. Who gives a shit?
Yeah.
You've got to. You're not like in life. You're never going to get anywhere worrying about what other people think you. Like it's just not going to happen. There's always going to be people that disagree with you, but you've just got to take that on the chin.
Yeah, but my point with it is that they can make money from it now. It's not even.
Yeah.
You're not even doing it for the likes. You can literally make money, make decent money. So I think more people should.
Reese is one of my biggest fans, and he's dying for me to get this OnlyFans thing set up, but no.
So I spoke to Reese about OnlyFans actually because obviously Dorsey, she literally does OnlyFans. We talked you better off listening to that episode because it's 2 hours of talking about how Dorsey got into OnlyFans. But why not? Why not? If somebody wanted a picture of my fucking feet, they can have it. Unfortunately, I'm not. I don't think people want pictures of me, but if they did, they can have it.
Yeah.
100%. You can pay me, I'll send you a fucking picture. No problem. Yeah. Easy money. Why not?
It's the way the world is going, and it is.
It's not though.
It's scary.
It's always been that way. Social media has just brought these people into communities. It's nothing new. Yeah, it's just new to a lot of people because we wouldn't have been exposed to it before.
Together.
Yeah, exactly. There's communities now where you can. I don't know. I'm into fucking. I don't know. I was going to say something awful then, but whatever, feet, whatever. And now there's places where you can make money from doing it, which is great for them people. Whatever, not hurting anyone, are they?
There's avenues for everything.
Yeah. What would you give people advice for? We'll do social media first. But like, you kind of just did, didn't you? Like, how would you advise a trade to get into? What would you advise that they do?
If you're a trade, just be yourself, be unique. Don't let the comments bring you down. And if you believe in it, you believe in it. Go with it. If you want to create a page that's positive and that does well, you have got to have tough skin. There is going to be always one. There is always one that will try and bring you down.
Just prepare yourself before, right? So we're old enough now. I find it quite funny if someone's commenting.
I laugh at them. Yeah. Sometimes, you know what?
But younger people might not. Yeah, younger people might not.
No.
Just prepare yourself to be amused by a troll. That's it.
I can purposely create a video, and I know already what people are gonna say. And I've done it a couple of times. I've done it on purpose, just to see what the reaction will be. And it's so predictable how many interactive comments you'll get from something that's so silly, right?
Yeah.
Like basic, to something that's like took you nearly 2 weeks to do.
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean? Like the difference when you weigh it up, you're like a 5-minute little thought in your head, quickly do that, and then something that's took you 2 weeks of graft.
Yeah.
And you weigh them up, and the thing that took 5 minutes is just steamrolling past the 2-week project.
Well, look at my last two. If you want to look at Perflex UK, right, on TikTok, if people are listening, the last 2 videos I've done. One of them was. I went to a plumber's merchant that did bathrooms as well, and I was there for 4.5 hours, 5 hours, and made a video while I was there. So it was like all day, and then when I got back, I edited that video and it's got to be 10 minutes maximum. So I edited a very long video into 10 minutes, which took fucking ages.
Yeah,
I had to put all the subtitles. So the subtitles auto-generate, but they're not always right. So you have to edit all the subtitles, take out swear words. Heavily edited. Took ages. So it's probably 2 days' work all in all, and a lot of driving from here to Northwest. 4,000 views. And I made a 5-minute video. 2.5-minute video that I do anyway. I have a shave anyway, so not any time. Not any time. And it took me 5 minutes to put some text on it and upload it. 40-odd thousand and counting. It's going up fast. So everything that what you've just said is true. It's the algorithm, obviously, but
yeah,
there's trolls in there taking the piss at the way I look. So then that generates the algorithm, because all the algorithm sees is, oh fuck, comments. I'll show it to someone else. So that's great for if you want views, but you've got to be prepared for fucking idiots. Just don't take it personally.
Yeah, you can't on social. You can't take it personally. Listen, you will spot the good guys. You'll spot the bad guys. You just make your choice and you decide where you want to be. But yeah, that would be my advice. Just be yourself and just roll with the punches.
Yeah, I would say just upload videos all the fucking time. Eventually, you'll especially as a trade. Eventually, you'll hit a niche that is for you, your way of doing it. And then that's it. You're away. Then you'll get more followers, and you can speak to people via TikTok, similar to yourself. And you and Mike do it quite a lot. You'll reply with a video.
In life, you'll always meet the people you're supposed to meet. It will just happen, you know. And I've made good friends from being on TikTok with certain people, and I ain't afraid to sort of say it. I've got better relationships with these people that I've known for 2 years than I have done for 15 years. Work that one out. Do you see what I mean?
It's another good point with social media. It's just like-minded, aren't they?
Yeah, like-minded individuals. It is a mad thing, but of late I've sort of seen what social media can do for you. Just being out and people spotting you and sort of coming up to you. I'm not used to that. People saying, "Oh, I follow you. Oh, I love your work. Like, if I could have my bathroom done, I'd have you doing it." And listen, they're all lovely compliments. They're all nice compliments, but it's like, ooh, don't know how to deal with it. I don't know whether to smile or just walk away. And it's like,
I'll give you an advice, because I certainly fucking don't know.
It's very strange, but it's only been of late. Like, I've noticed it, and it is weird, very weird. But it's positive. It's not negative, so it's okay.
The negative people.
It's just something I've got to digest.
The negative people won't show the face. That's why. No one's going to walk up to you in the street and say, "Oh, you look like a dickhead," like they do on whatever they say on TikTok, because they won't, because they don't. No. They'd rather be anonymous. So, advice, just general trade-wise.
Just be yourself. Just be unique. And if you've got the knowledge, you're comfortable. Because there is, like, the thing is, it's like you don't want to get dragged into a dogfight with these people either. Because some of them, that's what they're out there looking for. They're looking for you to bite, and they just want you to bite so that they can just laugh, and it just makes their day. And it's sad because these trolls get off on stuff like that. Yeah. And it is sad. Like, I'm just a normal guy. Why are you trying to piss me off? Why? I'm trying to help people, like, show people the right way, but
strange, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
it is weird.
So I literally saw someone ask you this question earlier on. How do I get into the trade? I'm pretty sure somebody specifically asked you that question earlier, didn't they, on TikTok?
Yeah.
So that's the last question for me.
I've noticed on there the way the comments come up on the feed now, they're very mixed up. So I have to kind of select comments and just read through all the comments.
Yeah, there's no order, is there?
No.
It mixes them all up. It's not a conversation.
Yeah, I don't know why it's gone like that. It's
they need
really
to fix
weird.
it. Yeah, there's something not right about that. It's not a conversation. It's just like random.
But I do. Some of them I've replied to that was a bit longer. You know, they've been waiting a bit longer. But yeah, I'll try and go through them. But how do you get into the trade? Well, look, I'm proof that you don't have to go and work for a company. So if you're good with your hands and you're willing to learn and you've got a reason to learn, let's say, because ultimately, like, if you haven't got a reason to learn anything, you ain't gonna bother. But if there's I had a reason why I had to learn. So, you know, it was either that or sink, and I ain't gonna sink. I don't sink for no one. So I will swim, and that's the attitude I've got. That's the mindset I've got. But you want to get into it, you've got to really want to be involved in the building game. You've got to be involved. You have to want to be hands-on. You have to want to get up early and work hard and go home dusty and messy, and because it's all of that. We make it look nice because we put little videos up, but the reality is it's not like that every day.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, you got to learn a lot before you can do those nice videos.
Yeah. I wouldn't be able to do them videos. Square notch round the toilet, filled in with grout. I might do one of them.
We're done, mate. I think I've covered everything that I wanted to. Is there anything that you wanted to say?
No, I just think if anyone's listening that wants to get into this trade, like we just said, go for it, or anything in life. Just go for it. Like, don't let nothing hold you back.
Yeah, you can literally do that now, can't you? Even you with the graphic design years ago, you probably did need the qualifications. You had to have them.
Yeah.
Now, if you wanted to be good at graphic design or plumbing or fucking anything, get on social media and start doing it. If you're really into it, you'll be able to learn that way, and then you can
100%.
take your own portfolio to wherever the fuck you want. You can even work for yourself.
Yeah.
Brilliant, mate. Thank you very much. Long time in the making. Maybe we'll do it again in the future. We need to plan now if we want to do another one, don't we? We might get it done by next year sometime.
No, I think the next time around, mate, we'll get it. We've been busy. You've been busy. I've been busy, and
we had a lot, didn't we? We had. To be honest, I read that podcasts don't get many listens in the summer anyway. For whatever reason, I need to read a bit more about why that is, but it is a thing. Yeah, they drop in the summer. I think probably people going on holiday and spending more time with the kids.
I like a podcast. It's nice because you get to see the other side of people, you know.
Yeah, you can talk for as long as you want. It's not just 60-second. You think you know that person. So yeah, especially if you get there's nothing wrong with getting. You can come back again. We'll talk about something else. We'll get a bit more out of you, and people can get to know you a bit more.
I'm a straight talker, so you fire the questions, mate. I'll give you them answers.
Thank you very much. Maybe I'll get a bit better at it myself as well. So we'll do another one in the future.
We will.
Cheers, mate.
No.
But yeah, sound. Thank you very much. I'm gonna have a cup of tea now.
Yes, mate.
I have to do the same routine. So I've got to go downstairs. I've got to have a cup of tea. I've got to sit down and just piss about for at least an hour, no matter what time it is.
Yeah, same.
I can't just go to bed. Not
And
happening.
then no, I can't either. I need to go and do the same thing. I'm dying. I'm gonna go and have a cigarette with a drink and chill for 10.
So, all right, mate. Enjoy your cigarettes. I'm gonna have a cup of tea.
Mate.
Nice one, mate. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
See you in a bit.
Speak soon, mate.
Ta-ta, bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.